Going live. Going live. We are live.
There's also a black box.
There's also the wrong mic. That should be muted, and that should be unmuted. There we go.
Hello.
There is a black box. There we go. Hello. Now would be a good time to insert ads.
Hello.
Oh my god. Right. There we go. Yes. Yes. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Fancy seeing you here.
Yes. Didn't see you come in. Yeah.
Hello, neighbour.
Yes, hello, how are we all doing? Welcome to Two Guys Talk Tech. 3 minutes late. Yeah, just about. Blame Caradog. He was just like, I'm going to leave the room. And then
I'm
come
walking
back.
off now. Goodbye.
Yeah, he does that sometimes. How are we all doing? Hold on a sec. They're probably already wiped out a warm cider. Warm cider's not the end of the world. Room temp cider is fine.
Yeah.
But then I don't
I mean,
mind
also
room temp drinks in general.
It also depends on what your room temperature is.
This is true,
Because
yeah.
it being room temperature and your room temperature being 16 degrees is somewhat different to it being room temperature and your room temperature being 32 degrees.
That's a good point, yeah. This is very true. This is very true.
Right,
hello everyone, how are we all doing? Welcome back. We are going to talk about tech today.
Yes.
Because that's what we do here, apparently.
Yes.
And as a special treat, we've actually got, we're doing live repair, well, we're doing live diagnostics anyway.
Absolutely.
Just to add context, we should probably switch this on and start looking at it sooner rather than later. But this PC is in for repair. It's actually been in before. It wasn't in a video or anything like that, but it came in as effectively a failed build where customer built up the computer, they're not using the front panel. I don't know why, that's up to them. It's possible that the front panel is one of those stupid, just solid glass front panels or something like that, because it's a co-link case, this one. So it's one of the Chinese ones. And some of them just have awful front panel design. Anyway, whatever, doesn't matter. Failed build. Inside was a rat's nest of wires. They built it. The wiring was horrendous and it wasn't working properly. So hello, Ben Laird. Thank you for the £5. Hello all from Scotland. Hello, Scotland. So we rebuilt it and
I'm already confused.
We rebuilt it and sorted out the cables. It was still having problems. I then did a BIOS update on it because it wasn't on, the BIOS version was really out of date and the problem just disappeared. I was like, there we go. BIOS update seemed to fix it. I kicked it out the shop. And it has come back apparently with the same problem and it won't even boot up Windows. Customer doesn't know what's wrong, etc., etc. So I figured we'd do a bit of diagnostic sessions on this today and see if we can figure out why this thing doesn't work. Customer information is unreliable at the moment because they were like, oh, it's cutting out. And when pressed for information, it turns out it's not cutting out, it's actually just rebooting. And so, of course, that's not the same as cutting out. Cutting out would imply a power issue and stuff like that. Rebooting just means it crashed. These two are not the same. You get the idea. So we need to figure this out from scratch. Mike Visions, hello. Thank you for the £5. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Looking forward to this. So, yes.
Shalom.
Is this Asus board?
No, it's a Gigabyte B550.
It's a Gigabyte. Not that it matters.
I mean, it does. Because it means it's not the motherboard.
Is that the game you're going to play today?
Absolutely.
Are you good? See, I don't know if you've heard, but Asus is on everyone's shit list this week. And I
mean, they were on my shit list before it was cool.
Yeah, and part of me is very much taking the stance today of, and now let's get one thing straight. It's not that Asus did nothing wrong. Asus have done wrong. However, this situation is extremely overblown and people are blowing this way out of all proportions. I will have a rant about that when we get going. And
to put a comment on there, I would argue that it is equally AMD's fault.
Yes, at the very least, they are a party in this and also carry some responsibility,
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. So yeah. Suffice to say, however, it's a case of Just because Asus have a bad, there is a bad motherboard and CPU combination out there that is, and the fallout of that is being handled very badly, it doesn't mean that all your Asus motherboards are going to blow up. It doesn't mean that all your existing Asus motherboards are crap, because I can see this happening already.
No, it doesn't. This doesn't mean that they're crap.
No. However, again, this is like what happened with Gigabyte with the power supply situation, where everyone just started shitting all over Gigabyte motherboards and graphics cards, and it's like this has got nothing to do with their motherboards. They made a bad power supply, or they bought the design for a bad power supply
and then handled it badly.
And then handled it badly. We can criticize that. We can criticize them for their handling of it. This doesn't mean that your Gigabyte motherboard is bad. If anything, a lot of Gigabyte motherboards are actually really good.
Yeah.
I'm begging you people, please look at this objectively. Yes. Stay on topic here. You know, just because already, you know, people are going like sort of, oh, I've always, you know, I've always recommended Asus motherboards. It's like, yes, and they're still fine. They're fine. They're fine.
Yeah.
Obviously, this particular board and CPU combination is not fine, and also there are other criticisms we can make of Asus products.
Yeah.
But they're fine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Also, I feel like we look beige.
We're a little bit beige. We're warm.
Yeah.
Is this cozy, or are we going to go clinical because we're repairing stuff? I don't know. You're in charge of the photography here. I
know. It's just interesting that we look beige.
Are we beige? I mean, I'm kind of wearing beige.
Yeah. Anyway. Mexican filter, exactly.
Or the Deus Ex piss filter, you know. I didn't ask for this. All right. It's not full Michael Bay, just slightly warm.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, I remember when champagne filters were popular. That was a weird time in photography.
Yeah, no, I've never been a fan of the champagne look. Right. Even Kitgo and your neck of the woods is trashing them for trying to buy good reviews today.
Oh, well, buying good reviews is an entirely different
I was going to say, I mean, yeah, absolutely, that's a bad thing, but...
And that is a thing to entirely trash someone for, trying to buy good reviews.
Let's all remember, everyone, like I said this in the Discord yesterday, or this morning, I can't remember which, time has lost all meaning to me. I said in the Discord, I was just like, remember when MSI was on everyone's shit list? No? Because that's what everyone else, you know, no? Okay, fine. I guess we're using MSI boards again, you know.
Oh, because of the laptop kerfuffle.
Yeah. And also them selling GPUs to miners and stuff like that.
But everyone was selling GPUs to miners.
True, but
I don't understand why MSI got kicked in the teeth for that one.
Maybe, but still, everyone was still hacked off with them.
The only people who probably weren't selling them to miners were EVGA.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing. It's just like, we can argue whether it's a good or bad thing, but that's still something that everyone was pissed off about. But, you know, and this was my criticism to Jay's 2 cents about this, is that he was just like, I'm done with Asus kind of thing. I'm like, oh, so you're using an MSI board in the Mega Man build? Yeah. Okay. You know. And again, you know, I remember when Gamers Nexus were just like, we're not going to do reviews or promote Thermaltake because we're done with their marketing nonsense where they keep saying that it's 26% cooler when that's mathematically not how it works. But they'll take their sponsorship money these days, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't, I'm just making an observation. People have short memories. So yeah. Everyone loves a bandwagon, and like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Asus don't deserve to get a slap in the face for how they're handling this. I'm just saying, don't pretend like we haven't seen this before, and don't pretend like this isn't going to blow over, because we all know it's going to blow over. This time in a month, everyone will have forgotten. Just saying. Anyway. That was a very bad rant. I didn't do a top-down rant. I just waffled. I'm going to turn on this computer and start it up because I don't think it has customer data on it because the customer said they've been trying to reinstall Windows. So I think we can just boot this up and just see what it does. However, obviously, I've got to start it up with no capture first, just in case it suddenly pops up with with all of their family photos
Is that
on the
why?
background as a collage. That looks good. That looks better. Yeah, that looks no. That
Also,
that looks
the
more
focus
natural.
is broken because firmware issues.
I see.
Somehow, even though the lens has a manual focus mode, the manual focus mode isn't actually a manually controlled manual focus mode. It's an electronically controlled manual focus mode.
This is a fly-by-wire issue.
Effectively.
Yeah.
And because the camera has a fault where the focus stops working. And because that's happened, the focus has shifted ever so slightly.
Yeah.
And the only way to fix it is to power cycle the camera.
Gross. Oh well.
So yeah.
Well, if we got to do that, we can do that. But yeah.
But yeah.
All
also,
right. So at the moment,
I can understand why you'd be having problems getting to Windows.
Well, the
Because
moment
you have a completed setup.
I was going to say, it looks like we have a clean install of Windows. So firstly, I'm just going to switch to capture, so we're on the right capture. EVGA capture box. Why aren't you giving me a picture? Capture box. We are at, can we automatic the resolution? Device defaults. Do you just want to double check that the HDMI cables are the correct way around, otherwise we wouldn't have a picture on the monitor. Yeah, so that has to be working. EVGA XR1. Is that what we're doing? Is it going to be like that?
What?
Activate. No, doesn't like it. What have you just done?
Pulled
USB.
out the power.
Yeah. Okay.
Pulled out the USB.
We're trying the EVGA XR1 again because we're still trying to ascertain whether this thing is broken or not.
And it froze the camera as well.
Oh wow.
The main camera.
Whoop. All right, that's us back. There we go. Okay.
Cool. Fine.
Fine. All right. So as you can see, we're on first run. There you go. We're on first run. So yeah, let's just try running through first run and making a local account and see if it falls over, basically. So yes. Okay. The viewing angle on it that bad, is it?
It was pretty terrible.
Yeah, it's a pretty... I'm going to swap out that monitor at some point. Anyway, fine. Okay. OOB go burr. Yes, indeed. Okay, so... How much do you want to bet that this is just going to glide straight through this and just not have any problems, and we're going to stress test it and it's going to be fine and we're not going to be able to reproduce the problem?
I wouldn't put it at 0.
Yeah. I'm going to grab a wireless for this as well.
Oh, yes.
Because, like, we'll see.
Yeah, I've got GPU drivers. And
let's do that one. Bam. Now it has wireless.
Oh, this board doesn't have Type-C.
No. There are one or two of them out there without Type-C.
Bit of a shame.
Yeah, because interestingly, it's got USB 3.2 on it. They just opted to put a Type A port instead of a Type C port there.
Yeah.
Does it have a front panel Type-C port? It does. So it might be that they only have... yeah, no, they can still do that anyway. I don't know. There was a very brief period where motherboards looked like they were dropping Type-C because no one used it. And then they very quickly brought it back again. And now we're moving into the phase of 2 Type-C ports standard.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're definitely I'm starting to find more and more peripherals now are Type-C. So we're getting to the point where it's a case of, yeah, everyone just start buying Type-C cables. So
actually, you know what? Because I've got the drivers downloaded.
Okay. Are you going
And
to...
because I've got Unigen downloaded and stuff like that,
Yeah.
we can obviously just do it without connecting to the internet, without installing anything, and just be like,
Sure.
this is a contained box of an environment.
Sure.
If we connect it to the internet and then it breaks, then something else. But it's
Yeah.
kind of a case
Well,
of because we don't trust anything.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if it works standalone with some with some graphics drivers installed,
Yeah.
and then
Oh wait.
it's RTX.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it works like this, and then when we connect it to the internet, it starts getting problems, that immediately tells us that it's one of the automatically downloaded drivers, like a chipset driver or something like that, that is throwing it off. So that does actually give us a lot of information.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fair. USA Windows install looks a little different. Possibly. The other thing as well is that we went through the setup for a local user account there. We didn't do the Microsoft install. Oh yeah, that was a good point. Just 22H2, just in case.
If somehow.
1909 or something. Yeah. I still see it now and then. Every now and then, a computer will come in with 1909 on it or something. And
I was surprised that the offices in the computers in the office were on 20H2.
Yeah.
Even though they've got auto update turned on.
Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes automatic update just won't offer feature updates. Is that it? Has it just died?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, there you go then. All right. Reproduction. So what say we let it reboot, we don't try and install anything, and we just leave it sitting on the desktop for 10 minutes?
Immediate response is I want to bring up hardware info.
Sure, okay.
Which isn't on there because the copy didn't get that
Has it gone again?
far.
Ah, okay. Right. That was very quick. Are we flash overheating?
Thermal
Crash into BIOS. Crash into BIOS. Check the temperature in BIOS. So the fact that it rebooted so quickly then.
43? 42?
It's got a stock blower on it, so that's not outrageous.
41? Yeah, but why is the temperature coming down now so quickly? Why did it get hot so high so quickly, if that makes sense, and then drop this quickly
Well, it was working because it
was
was booting Windows, and then it's restarted, and now it's idle, and now it's dropping off to idle.
Yeah.
So it could be a flash overheat. I find that hard to believe. I mean, we can easily solve this by remounting the CPU cooler.
Yeah.
That would immediately tell us if that's it. Have we got any other? Well, there's no other temperature that's relevant to this, is there?
Oh, it's a 5600G.
Sai says he had this with a bad memory controller and a 5600G. Yeah. What was the CPU? Sorry, 5600G.
Yeah.
Oh, Sai's was a 5600X, but still. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yates says GPU driver. JD says GPU. I mean, we haven't even installed a driver.
I was going to say, we didn't even get to the point of actually getting to the point of installing the driver. It was still unpacking it.
Yeah, exactly. A graphics card cutting out like that with no driver, I find very hard to believe.
That would have to be turbo-rogered.
Yeah. Like the fact that you can install Windows, but then not sit on the desktop with no driver.
Yeah.
And it be a graphics card issue. That's very odd to me.
But yeah, I'm intrigued.
Yeah. DNA says reseat the CPU for intermittent faults like this.
Before that, I was going to clear CMOS.
Sure.
And then I was going to reseat the CPU.
Yeah. All right. Let's do a BIOS reset. Yep.
Also, apparently I've mashed that Type A.
Oh yeah,
just enough.
That's been stepped on at some point, hasn't it? Yeah. Well, at least you know it's a confident fit.
Ah!
None of this MagSafe rubbish, which is the opposite of the MagSafe, which is one step below LPT printer safe. Test with another PSU. Yes, power supply is definitely on the cards. What is this?
It is something.
It's an Asus. It's a ROG.
Yeah.
Sorry, an ROG. Oh, Asus power supply. That's it. It's Asus. All right.
I'm presuming it's under the GPU.
Okay, we're going for the. Let's see. bench cam with face. There we go. We're going to go for the CMOS battery remove.
Excuse me.
So, but yes, bad power supply. Doesn't matter what brand, doesn't matter what make or model it is. Entirely possible with these symptoms. So yeah, that's definitely a contender. The good thing is, at the moment we seem to have really easy reproducibility, which is great. Because at that point it means that we can just throw parts at this now until it works.
Where is your multimeter?
Oh, it's on the windowsill.
Ah, yes.
What brand is that battery?
HRJIT? I don't know.
Okay, yeah, it's not GP basically, because if it was GP, then the chances are I changed it when it was last in here. However, that's not the one out of my pack.
Ah, I failed.
Why is everyone so bad at doing this? Put it face down.
There you go.
Okay.
3.016.
That's low. That's out of circuit as well. I doubt that's it, but I'm going to replace that anyway.
Yeah.
Just because that's low. 3.01 in circuit, that's going to sag to 3 flat. And, you know, dipping to 2.9 is not completely out of the question. So that's worth doing. I severely doubt that's our problem. However, also we want this cell to last the lifetime of the computer, in which case we kind of want something fresh in there. Yeah, you use one of the finger choppers. Don't cut your finger off. That's a nightmare, that packaging. It's anti-child. Let's see. As you have a GPU, pop in a known good one. Yes, one thing at a time though. Is it latest stable in BIOS? There's probably a newer BIOS out for this, but when it was last in, did you win? Oh yeah. So it looks like you just given up or something. Oh. I didn't see you take it out. Yeah. Anyway, there's probably a newer BIOS available for it, but it did get a BIOS update when it first came in, like maybe a month ago. So it has a very recent BIOS update on it. Definitely a BIOS that supports the CPU. So I can't see a world in which this is a BIOS problem. However, we won't rule anything out for now.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, chaps. Hello, Mike's Unboxing. How you doing? Ooh, crotch cam. I see. Blood makes for a good stream. Why is there even an old battery in a fairly new PC? It's surprisingly common. It's disappointingly common. Where, I mean, to an extent, with cheap. Thanks. Is there enough there for you as well? Because we're on the end of the Dowdings.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Yeah. You're going to get these CR2032 cells are cheap and cheerful. You're going to get duff ones here and there that are just not very good. And like you don't know how long the motherboard has been sitting on the shelf for as well and stuff like that. But at the same time, I do see computers and laptops that are maybe a couple of years old where the CMOS battery is flat. Yet also you can have a motherboard in that's a decade old and the CMOS battery's on like 3.1 or something like that. And you're like, this thing is 10 years old and it's still doing great. So yeah.
Yep, it's empty.
All right.
Actually, hold on. There we go.
I think we've had our money's worth out of that.
I was making a point.
You were making a mess is what you were making.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's going to be sticky.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm sure there have been worse things on your bench.
No heatsink on the NVMe, that will cause the problem? No, it won't. At worst, you might get thermal throttling when you are absolutely hammering your SSD. However, general day-to-day use running around on a desktop, no issue. I have put
Not
this.
even possible.
I have put this to the test on recent SSDs because yeah.
These things.
Yeah, that's going to sink a little bit into the aluminium case.
Oh
kind
yeah,
of thing,
absolutely.
yeah.
But the fact that these can maintain, you know,
Yeah,
500-600 megabytes
yeah.
per second
But
writes
also,
for an hour.
my M.2 dock that pulls
Yeah.
that can pull 1,000 megs per second, which is enough to actually be putting a load on the drive, and the drive is just floating in midair. And also, the dock itself, the chipset in the dock, actually creates a lot of heat.
Hot.
Yeah, I've put the thermal camera on it. The chip in there actually warms the dock itself up to an ambient of about 40 or 45 degrees. And that soaks into the drive itself. And yet the drive is fine. Because when I first started looking at that, I was like, oh, is this thing going to throttle drives? Because it's just heat soaking them. No, the drives are fine. I left them, I did stress tests on it, no problem whatsoever. So yeah, it's just not a problem. So yes. Okay. Is it still okay? What's the shelf life after opening the Dowdings? Well, the thing about those bags is that because it's a vacuum sealed thing, so and you only let cider out, you don't let any air in because it just seals when you release, so it keeps it fresh basically.
Yeah.
That much being said, this is like what, week 3? You know, it needs using up.
Oh yeah, it should be
as,
finished now.
Yeah, it is certainly not going to be as fresh as it was the day we opened it. However, that's the point of those bags, is that they keep it fresh. Right, this is going to have a hissy fit because it's had a BIOS reset, so it's probably going to ram train. Capture with face cam.
Yeah, I got reasonably excited when I saw it had the Viper stills in it. And I was just like, oh, it's a 3600 bin, never mind.
Do you lose settings when changing the CMOS battery? Yes. How it works is... Also, hello, Treblaine. I have a rule. Your product fails early, the replacement will be your competitor. That's how it should be, but it depends. So yeah, the question of, so does removing the CMOS battery clear your settings? Yes, it does. Not because, so here's the thing. That's the 3rd reboot or power cycle? It'll come back. Right, I'm going to explain this while I'm doing it. So here's how it works. The settings are saved on the ROM chip, which is non-volatile. However, the CMOS circuit is always powered up. When you remove the CMOS battery, it pulls low the reset signal, which tells the circuit to clear the settings. So it does the same thing as holding down the button, fundamentally. However, in my opinion, it's more reliable because you're removing the battery and you're powering down the entire CMOS circuit entirely. So I feel that is better. We have a post, by the way, so yeah.
I was like, hello?
So yeah, it's not so much that removing the battery causes the chip to lose its memory because it's non-volatile. That's not how it works. However, it pulls low the reset signal. So yeah. And also, again, I agree with Arnold G. In my experience, pulling the battery is the most reliable way to get a guaranteed reset. Because pressing the button, sometimes that doesn't seem to work. And also, like, do you hold it down? Do you hold it for 10 seconds? Do you momentarily press it? It depends on their implementation. Whereas if you remove the battery and walk away for a minute, it's going to get reset. This is an absolute.
Yeah, because that is an issue slightly with the Aorus Master S, where the reset circuit doesn't seem to actually clear CMOS properly.
Yeah. Let's just do restart. Yeah, because it's just upset.
Yeah. So you have to pull the battery.
Yeah. So that's the thing is 9 times out of 10, pressing the CMOS reset is probably good enough. However, if you're in a situation where you need to be absolutely certain that it has reset, just pull the battery. So yeah. How's the shop been this week? It's been busy as always. I'm slowly catching up. I had a video out this week, and I'm editing another video this weekend. So we're
Nope.
Has it just fallen over again? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it has.
Yeah.
All right. So I vote CPU reseat and remount the cooler to eliminate the possibility of flash overheating.
So we pull it off and find there's 0 thermal paste.
Yeah.
It's like, ah!
So it's still got the peel sticker on it.
Oh no!
I mean, there is no peel sticker on those heat sinks, so that's not possible. They didn't put one on to make sure that that couldn't happen. However, that would be funny. For those of you who aren't familiar with the term that I use there, flash overheating, this is a term I use where if you have a bad mount on your CPU, it might be okay off-load. Like, it turns on, we were able to sit in BIOS and see temperatures of 40 degrees. You look at that and be like, that's fine, it's cooling. However, if there's a bad mount, when the CPU bangs on load, the temperature spikes, and it spikes to thermal cutout faster than the temperature reporting can update. So even if you're sitting there with hardware monitor open, logging the temperatures, it will happen too fast to register. So it looks like your temperatures are fine, but it's just going, bam, cut out as soon as it hits load. I call this flash overheating. That's a term that I made up. There's probably other terms for it. So, bench cam with face, that's what I'm looking for. Have you just nudged it and...
No, the plate has fallen off the back.
Oh, I see.
I didn't think about that.
Oh, yeah, that's inconvenient. Oh, well. Twebit says it's the RAM. Seen this before. It could be. It certainly could be. Because also, I tell you one thing we haven't done, which we should have done, although we didn't really get the chance to, is we need to turn off automatic restart on system failure. In other words, hold blue screen. So if we're getting a blue screen error, we actually see the blue screen. On modern Windows, the computer will automatically reboot when you blue screen. And that means that...
I forgot they were loose. What the hell is that thermal paste pattern?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, hold on, hang on a sec. Let me zoom in on the socket first. Oh. I've got a Caradog, I'm begging you. I literally have the fancy camera for this. So as you can see, we've got a really weird thermal paste pattern there. And if you look at the back of this, if you look at the back of the cooler there, what the hell is that? It doesn't look like a good mount, whatever it is.
I also just don't like the color.
That's the color that the stock thermal paste is.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's not very nice looking stuff, but that pattern looks really weird.
Where the hell did that screw go?
Right. What were these?
There.
Okay.
And the spring is under the stool.
These are captive. How did this happen?
They're clearly not.
I liberated them, says Caradog.
Because they're bloody well here.
Okay, that's 3. Have you got a 4th, or are we missing one still? All right. Okay, well, I guess I'll get the alcohol and we'll remount it.
Captive my foot. I have brought peace, liberty, and justice to my new empire.
I can't remember the next line in that.
Your new empire? My allegiance is to democracy, to the republic. No, wait, to the republic. Oh, never mind. Whatever. Anyway, moving on. Hi, how are you?
I don't like thermal paste. It's gooey and sticky and it gets everywhere.
And it's even worse when your nozzle's damaged.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Do you reckon maybe this has been sitting in a warehouse or in extreme temperature conditions and the thermal paste had just gone off in the box?
Maybe.
Because they're not sealed. Because that's why third-party ones have a sticker over it. Keeps the paste fresh.
Yeah, maybe.
Whereas the AMD ones, it's just a plastic cover on the bottom, but it's not airtight or anything. Maybe it was just bad paste out of the box.
Maybe.
Because that's the thing. I'm trying to figure out how you could have bad thermal paste on a brand new build, which is why I wouldn't have considered this the last time.
Because it's not a brand new CPU? Because it's a CPU that's been out for 2 years?
Yeah, I guess. You know.
I don't know.
Think it's been over tightened? Well, you can't. You tighten it down to the stops. The springs provide the tension. You literally can't over tighten one of these. I mean, we'll soon find out. If we remount this and the problem disappears, I'm going to be like, oh, well, thanks for coming, everyone. On the flip side, of course, you know, just everything's a learning experience, isn't it? I'm going to get a toothbrush just because I've put fibres all over this thing now. Aha.
As Treb says, is it just an old cooler from another build?
No, I think this is a new cooler.
The 5600G does come with a box cooler, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It does indeed. Yeah, right. You can put that back on because now you have to take the back off. Ugh. Caradog does all the work around here. Pins, pins, pins. Yeah, go on then. I mean, it's PGA. I can't, you know.
No.
Yeah, nothing to see there. On Intel with LGA, I would definitely inspect the pins, but PGA, you know, short of mashing the CPU into the socket.
And I managed to take a CPU out without bending one of the pins.
Miracles never cease. You just got here and we checked the RAM timing. Well, we've just done a BIOS reset, so we know that there's no funky settings on the BIOS.
Yeah, we're running at JEDEC.
Yep. We haven't tested the memory yet, and memory is definitely on the cards. But what we have just discovered is what looks like a bad mount with the CPU cooler. So my current theory is that we're flash overheating. The idle temperature was 40 degrees. Seems fine. However, with a bad mount, that could easily just spike to 105 as soon as you hit any kind of load. And you just can't see that because it happens before you get a chance to actually measure anything. So current theory is that it's flash overheating because of a bad CPU cooler mount.
This did not go the way I expected it to.
Don't try and mount it vertically. It's a lot harder than it looks.
No, it was more the fact of the paste.
Oh, I see, yeah. But yeah, so we've still got lots of potential avenues to explore, though. So it was the RAM last time. No, Trev. If you recall, we redid the RAM, but then after that, it was still having issues. I then did a BIOS update, and then it was fine, but clearly it wasn't. Maybe I just hadn't hit it with the correct load. But the other thing as well is it also really feels like overheating because when we initially turned it on, it ran for like 10 or 15 minutes while it sat on first run. Then we went through to desktop.
I'm going to tape it. I was just going to put a bit of tape to hold that on.
I've got the masking tape is at home at the moment.
Oh.
So there's no masking tape to hand.
Okay, then I'll use your hand.
Yep. Yeah, hang on a sec. I'll lay it down and put my hand under it.
How the hell does this go together?
God,
because
what the fuck is that?
Right?
Are we committing to this?
I mean, in theory.
Will you commit to this program? I'm sorry. I'm going to reveal this. I'm going to dox your paste pattern. Oh! Ah! Okay.
There's no problem with this paste pattern.
There still is, but I mean, if you turn it 180... Oh, also, I'd probably put all the screws on first. Also... Oh, I don't know.
How is this supposed to have its screws in?
Is
it just like this?
That's exactly what I was just questioning. I think the washers are missing from that. Which now makes me think that the client may have butchered the cooler.
Have you got another one of these?
Yes, I
sitting
do.
Around?
Yeah.
I will do these 2 screws up.
Yeah, just so we can let go of stuff. And then actually, let's just look at another cooler and just check that the cooler isn't completely butchered.
Oh, I can't get this one in now. Get in.
GPU kicks on and chipset drivers. It doesn't have any drivers. It's a fresh install of Windows.
Engage. Is that engaged? I think so. Yes. Cool.
Cool.
Where is the other one of those coolers? And we shall
I will fetch it.
We shall examine even.
Whoops. Yeah, it's supposed to have captive washers underneath it.
Huh. Oh, I see. Hence your statement of, but it's captive.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. They go into there. That goes on that.
I mean, I can't imagine you lost all 4 washers without noticing, so they must have been missing. But the question is, why the hell were they missing? I wonder if the customer has had the cooler off several times and not replaced the thermal paste,
Like that.
hence the bad mount.
I don't think it makes any difference other than them not being captive.
Agreed. However,
because the mounting location where the spring pushes against and so on doesn't change.
But it does indicate that the cooler has probably been messed with or on and off several times without a repaste. Now, you can get away with it once or twice, don't get me wrong, especially with third-party paste. But with pre-applied paste like that is a one-shot deal. You don't get to reuse that.
Yeah.
Once you've removed pre-applied paste, you need to repaste it. So after install, it loads them. Not all though is no internet. Yeah, not feeling that yet. Again, it's not impossible, but I find it very hard to believe.
Oh,
We'll
yeah,
see.
You literally can't over tighten this, can you?
Yeah.
Because it's just go until the screw stops.
Down to the stops. Yep. However, again, we're going to keep going. Like if I'm wrong, then we're eventually going to get around to different graphics card, different RAM, different motherboard. We have all the parts we can replace any part in this PC.
Yeah.
So if we're wrong, then we're going to keep going until we get to the right answer.
Absolutely. All right, that's in.
Hello, White Bear.
That's on.
It's going okay, thanks. How you doing? That's an error 42.
That's on.
Mm-hmm. What's the BSOD crash? We don't know. It's currently just rebooting with no visible error. However, at the moment,
it's a bit too quick.
I was going to say it's not stable enough for us to get to the setting to switch off automatic reboot yet. Although we
can't remember where the hell it is.
Yeah, we can do that from if it goes to recovery mode, we can do it from recovery mode. It's in boot options.
Yeah.
So we'll do that if it gives us the opportunity to go into recovery mode, then we'll disable automatic restart on system failure because then we can see if it's actually blue screening. Because at the moment we don't actually know. It could be a blue screen, but we don't know. I wish that they would set it so the blue screen would appear for like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and then automatically reboot. Because the fact that it does an automatic reboot means that you don't know if it's blue screening. Because often the blue screen it can be on screen for literally a fraction of a second. So yeah, 2-force reboot, auto repo on third. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to force it into recovery mode yet because I want to just keep reproducing the fault first. However, if it goes into automatic recovery anyway, we'll do it. Capture. Oh, we've changed the CPU, so it's RAM training. Yeah.
So it's doing initialization.
That's right. Yeah. I was a bit
weirdly slow on this board.
Yeah, some of them are. Like I've seen a brand new board take like 60 seconds to post the first time I put it in before.
And then we get onto DDR5 boards, and it's like, oh yeah, 6-minute post.
Yeah, it's why I say I say it in a lot of videos. I always say, give it time. Like give it at least 60 seconds before you decide that it is not posting.
Yeah, or you've got a postcode readout, and you can actually see the numbers
exactly.
cycling.
Unless you have other indicators.
Yeah.
If it's CPU, you won't always get a BSOD.
Oh yeah, there you go. I think it's posted.
Jay says, I think it's RAM disable XMP. XMP is already off because we did a BIOS reset. Okay, there's our post. And we're going into automatic recovery. So yeah, we'll go to boot options and we'll disable automatic restart on system failure.
See advanced.
Troubleshoot.
Troubleshoot. Advanced.
Startup settings. Yeah.
Restart.
I think it's 9.
I'm not sure I like the airflow through the top of this case, given.
Yeah, originally the customer put fans up there.
Yes,
yeah, 9.
Just because.
Oh yeah, that monitor is slow to initialize.
Yeah.
I tell you, I really hate monitors that are slow to initialize.
Yeah.
That is an underrated, quote unquote, feature for a monitor to have, just a quick switch on. Has it just fallen over already? I think it has.
What?
Crash into BIOS or get ready to crash into BIOS? Yeah, it's restarting.
Oh, my bloody eye.
BIOS has been reset. All right. Let's see. Temperature. 38.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't tell us anything. It can't be flash overheating at this point. Like, even if we had a bad, like, after doing a repaste like that, a mount that's bad enough that we're running at 90 degrees under load, I can believe. Flash overheating, no. Flash overheating only happens when your thermal paste is powder.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen with a bad mount. That happens when your paste is cooked.
After resetting, the core voltage is 0.012 lower, which is funny. But yeah.
Fine.
What version
okay.
are we on?
Right. Everyone's shouting RAM. I am inclined to agree. I think RAM is the next.
F16B.
Yeah. And as you can see, the BIOS build date is 8th of the 2nd, 23. So it's a recent BIOS.
Yeah. I read that as today's date for a second. I was just like, the date's wrong on this board. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think let's go 5600G, take the video card out. You know what? Sure, because that means I don't have to stand up and go and get another RAM kit. I'm currently agreeing with chat that RAM is the next port of call.
Fair enough.
However, let's drop this GPU. Now, for GPU out, we now need to remember that we have just removed a large wattage load from the PC, which means if we have a power supply problem, we have changed things because there is less load on the power supply. So consider the fact that if the problem now evaporates, that doesn't mean it's the GPU. It could still be the power supply. Hello, Tiger. You asked for monitor suggestions on the Discord. You got the Asus Tough. You're happy bad out of the box calibration, but you fixed it. Yeah, a lot of monitors are just not very well calibrated out the box. It's kind of just how it goes. Has that just died straight? Yeah.
Yeah.
Insta kill. All right.
It doesn't feel like RAM though.
No, I agree.
Which is, I mean, obviously in the scale of things, we have no evidence in any direction, but it's just a case of it doesn't particularly feel RAM-y, just because I'd expect RAM to feel slow then crash, sort of thing.
You know what I'm suddenly reminded of? Do you remember the i7 from hell one I had, the Maloon?
Yeah, where the BIOS date was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same symptoms.
Yeah, but the BIOS date's 2023.
Yeah, I now remember that one was a BIOS date issue. I couldn't remember what the resolution to that one was, but just saying, we've been here before.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I've been in this place.
Huh?
Before.
Oh, I see, yeah. RAM would show a blue screen of death.
I would expect it to.
I would expect it to, but...
Whilst it looks like we haven't swapped the RAM.
Yeah.
That's the 3200 kit.
Yeah.
No, 3600 kit. Wait, if it's 3618, I presume that means it's not a C die bin. A B die bin. Also, why are the heat spreaders bent? Bizarre. Right.
Cheap Patriot RAM.
It's not the RAM.
Just straight away, is it? Yeah.
I've just rebooted.
Yeah.
Fine.
Well, there you have it, people. It's not the RAM. Should we do... It didn't RAM train. Does that matter because we changed the RAM? Is it worth doing another CMOS reset because we changed the RAM? I know that it doesn't feel like RAM
No,
at the moment.
No. I'm just trying to work out where the... Oh, it's there. Yeah, no, it just went straight off.
Yeah. Size calling CPU. Yeah.
I'm feeling CPU.
Yeah.
This feels not... Motherboard?
Could be power.
Why would it be the power supply?
Yeah, I tell you what, we can
easily test the power supply, but it just doesn't feel like it should be.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not feeling power supply because it seems to be stable in BIOS, and also because we've taken out the graphics card as well, we've just lowered the wattage load on it, and it's still conking out really quickly.
Yeah,
it feels like it's overheating, doesn't it? But then it's not cutting off.
Kind of. Yeah, I'm gonna go for CPU.
Yeah,
that's my next bet.
Yeah,
so.
all right. There's a.
We'll clear CMOS and then we'll swap CPU.
I'm just going to get another CPU lined up.
I have one in my hand.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. I'll just get my 5950X. Yep. I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? Yeah, it'll drive a 5950X. Very well. Cool. All right. What's the play?
I've just taken the CMOS battery out.
Oh yes.
Just because you said we were going to clear CMOS.
Agreed. We're doing another CMOS reset just to make sure it's trained on the new RAM properly. Can't imagine a world in which this is going to make a difference at this point. No. However,
also a case of this board could chuck literally whatever timings it wants at this kit of RAM,
and it'll do it.
And it will do it.
Yeah.
Especially at 2400.
Yeah.
Unless it's trying to set 11111111. What is your CAS latency? 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. NVMe is slotted good. I mean, yeah, it could be dodgy SSDs.
I just wouldn't expect it to cut out. I'd expect it to like display funny or something. If like that's kind of what I'd expect.
Yeah.
Or like it to feel slow as it's trying to write to the drive and so on. But it could be.
Yeah.
Fine.
Well.
We have more SSDs.
Yeah. That's an M.2. It's a SATA M.2, but who cares? That's a SATA M.2 with Win 10 installed on it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, there's only 2 SATA ports. Oh no, there's 4. Never mind.
Asus power supplies popcorn to the CPU. Don't ask how. It's just what happened. Oh. JD said the line, clean the ME, bro. Yeah.
There isn't an ME.
Hello, Muerto. How you doing? Yeah, Omni's still going PSU. I agree with your logic, Omni, but again, because it's still doing it even without a graphics card in.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it could. I still think PSU is possible. So yeah, it's just a question on what order we want to do things in.
I mean, we can swap the.
I tell you what. Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm going to take out one of them.
Yeah. I think we should just pull both the SSDs and put this guy in and see what happens first. Because if we put this guy in and it crashes, that just immediately exonerates all possibility of it being the SSDs. Can you try the CPU in a different mode? Yeah, we do have another motherboard available for this.
Yeah.
Within easy reach as well. So yeah, test motherboard is available. But one thing at a time, of course. Whoop. The PC is idle, can't be the PSU. I mean, it could be. It is unlikely because, you know, like the power supply would have to be really, really munted to be at this point where it won't sit on the desktop, but yet still post. But this can happen. You can, you know, on these point of you can have a power supply that will turn on the machine but fall over as soon as there's any kind of load is possible. But the fact that it's happening as soon as we hit desktop, like we've got load before, we've got a similar amount of load on boot up that we have just getting to desktop. So, you know, if that was the case, I'd expect it to get to the desktop and then fall over if we try and throw a stress test at it or something. So.
Oh, that's a different font.
This might be 11. No, that's not the 11 spinner. So yeah, no, this is thing.
Huh, funny.
Oh. Oh no, yeah. Oh, it is 11.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. All right.
Your sticker is wrong.
Yes. Oh well, doesn't matter. I'm going to be kind of sad if this is a drive issue because I'm rapidly swinging toward, oh, I think it's the SSD.
Looks like it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I'll do. Let's delegate task. Leave it on for a sec. Oh. Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, let's delegate super quick. Is you just throw a basic load at this, and I'll just quickly plug those two SSDs in and see which one is the Windows drive. Just to save us time. I'm going to be kind of sad because bad SSD is boring.
Well, it's interesting because I've not seen one fail like this.
Yeah. Western Dig Blue and a Samsung 980 Pro.
With the Western Dig Blue being the Windows drive.
Yes.
Oh no, there you go, it just power cycled.
Ah, good, okay. Yep.
When I plugged the USB in.
All right, that makes me slightly happier because yeah, a bad SSD is boring. I would have been kind of sad if that was the answer. Like, it's always that story where you're glad you found the solution, but you're a little bit sad because it's just like, oh, well, that's boring, you know. Although that much being said, as far as the client is concerned, a bad SSD is probably one of the most favorable outcomes because that's a 40 quid for a new SSD.
Yeah.
So, right, okay. It's worth noting as no, that doesn't matter at this point. I was going to say this drive has not been formatted between Windows installs. It's got like a Windows.old and a Windows.old 000 folder on it, so it's a bit of a mess, this drive. But as we've just proven, that doesn't seem to be the issue.
Is there anything on the other?
I'm about to tell you. All right.
Oh, there we go.
The Samsung is empty.
Cool, okay. That just fell over again. If I now pull out the USB and it stays stable.
Yeah, the Samsung is a 2 terabyte and the Western Dig is 1 terabyte. So I guess the theory was he wanted a high-speed games drive and just a 1 terabyte to stick Windows on, which normally most people would be like, oh, I want the Windows drive.
Fine.
Yeah, most people would be like, oh, I want the Windows drive to be the good one. But it's just like, well, actually, you know, your games drive, that's the one where you actually want it to go super speedy. So that's not bonkers, really, is it?
But it's also a case of I just install Windows and my games to a 2 terabyte.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. Please rehot chipset, bro. Yeah. Yeah, I vote power supply next. We're going to put we're putting the SSDs back in, and yeah,
well, I'm going to put one of them back in.
Yeah, sure.
The other one being in there right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Change to the other port, M.2. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Put it in the other slot. Bad PCI Express lane or whatever. Unlikely, but it doesn't cost anything to stick it in the other slot and see what happens. We'll find out pretty soon whether that's the answer or not.
Fumbling, fumbling, much fumbling.
Yeah. Funniest thing will be if it's the board. Yeah, well, motherboard will probably be the last thing that I do, or we do, sorry, because the motherboard is the most annoying thing to take out the computer. So that's always my last port of call. So anyone who's put their money on motherboard, you're going to have to wait right until the end and then say I told you so. So Johnny Aussie says strip it down and work upwards from failure. Yeah, well, when we get to the motherboard, we'll do that. In my experience, stripping down to the basics very rarely actually achieves anything. Like that's one of the classic strategies. Straight away, yeah. That's
I'd also be doing that if it was a no post.
Yes, I agree.
That would be my immediate start point for a no post.
Yeah,
but because we're posting and getting to Windows,
yeah,
it feels above that level of issue.
I agree. When we get to the motherboard, we'll be testing outside of the case, but I don't think. Yeah, we're not there yet. Yeah, I vote. Yeah, power supply.
The Antec's behind me, so I'll grab that in a second.
Jay says 100 credits on the motherboard. Power supply is not under load. Yeah. Damn, PC isn't happy today. I mean, I'm just glad that it's actually just we've actually got reproduction. Because usually when I get PCs in the shop with these kinds of symptoms, it takes hours or days to reproduce the fault, and then nightmare rabbit holes, which is why you don't see a lot of videos about these kinds of things. Because whenever I actually try and set up the camera to do a video like this, I can't reproduce the fault. And it's a nightmare rabbit hole that goes nowhere and ends up in 30 hours of video footage that I can't possibly edit into a comprehensible video. It's never the CPU unless it is. Yep, Sai is sitting there in the background, cackling gleefully. Front panel connectors? No, I think we'd have a no post if it's front panel. Again, we will test for this all at some point, but unless Asus make it blow up.
Oh my god.
Let's have the bench cam so we can watch Caradog struggle with the EPS connector. USB failure, 5-volt rail issue.
But why would there be a USB failure when there's no USB?
Yeah. What program do you use to back up your customers' drives? I use Drive Snapshot, which is not necessarily the best tool for the job. However, it's a very versatile tool that I know very well, so I know how it behaves in any given situation, which means it works very well for me. For a recommendation, I think Macrium have dropped their free tier. However, up till recently, I probably would have said Macrium just because Macrium is my backup. When Drive Snapshot is not doing what I need it to do, Macrium is the next one I use. The reasonable Antec. Very reasonable now. All right.
It's kind of funny only needing
Forgotten
2 cables.
Extra rear standoff shorting out the board. It's not out of the question. No. This computer got rebuilt. When this computer first came in, we actually stripped it and rebuilt it from scratch because it was a rat's nest inside. So we know that all the standoffs are good. Again, like eventually we're going to get to the point where we have to take the motherboard out, so we'll find out. However, that's not something I'm expecting. Macrium is slow. It is, yeah. Macrium is reliable, but it takes all day. One of the things I like about Snapshot is that it is laser fast. Okay, right. Here we go, everyone. I was about to say everyone holding out on it being the power supply. You have just lost all of your money. You lose. Good day, sir. We're down to CPU or motherboard. We're running out of components.
Yeah.
I vote CPU first.
Oh yeah, because it's the easiest, isn't
Yeah,
it?
because if we are testing the motherboard, then we still have to take the CPU out. So it makes sense to do the CPU first. Why don't you boot like Ubuntu on it? Because it's not a software problem. If we've plugged in a different Windows install and had exactly the same fault, and let's say, for example, that it crashes when a driver loads, well, that means it's still a hardware fault. Even if Linux did successfully boot and run, if it doesn't run Windows, it still means you have a hardware fault. So it doesn't actually solve your problem. If it can't run Windows, it's not fit for purpose. Therefore, it's a hardware fault. Linux is way more verbose when it comes to errors. We don't have an error. We have a cutout. Well, no, that much being said, you know, this is how Windows is choosing to do this. So, you know, no, that's fair. But I don't feel like that is helpful. Have you got a tried and tested CPU to put into test? We do indeed. That's what we're doing now. Caradog is now going to drop in a 5950X, which is out of the test bench, which is a known good. Oh, I put it down here, sorry. I decided to hide it from you. Caradog is losing his marbles over that cooler. Should we just put my one in that has the captive screws? Well, failing that, while we're testing the CPU, I vote we just stick the freezer on top of it.
Well, yeah. The motherboard will need a little bit of thermal paste TLC.
Oh, that's all right.
There is a small patch.
Yeah, that'll be all right. I'd get some benchmarks ready, as you'll be able to stress test now. Oh, Sai's confident on the CPU. Sai is ready for it to be the CPU. Has the boot fully completed, or is it resetting as a driver brings something online? Unknown. Yeah, Lead Farmer reckons it's crashing when a driver loads, or was theorizing that. I don't think so, because it's not crashing at exactly the same time every time, and also the crashes have gotten more frequent as the computer has warmed up. I would wager that if we left this turned off for an hour and then came back to it, it would run for like 5 or 10 minutes before crashing. Yeah, doubt it's driver. That's fair, yeah.
Oh, I did that the wrong way around. Oh well. I meant to plug in the EPS first.
I see. Motherboard for sure. Dodgy VRM. Maybe. I don't know what I've got my money on at the moment. I'm entertaining the fact that it could be the CPU.
Oh, I didn't actually put the GPU back in.
I mean, we don't need it per se, unless you...
Well,
no,
it's a
yeah,
5950X.
of course, yeah. I was wondering why you were putting it in, however, yeah.
Because we do not have a video out.
Indeed. There we go.
What?
Caradog, I'm begging you, please learn how to PCI Express. Activate. It's probably going to do a BIOS reset anyway because the CPU has changed.
Yeah.
I will sit here and just rest my hands upon the top of it. Just a shout, is there a problem with the case, shorting the USB port? I can't imagine a world where it would have that fault that would post. Because like, we're not moving the desk around enough for that to be moving and shorting and stuff like that. However, the next thing to test is the motherboard, which means motherboard out and test bare on the bench. So we're about to hit the point where if there's any issues with front panel headers or something like that, we're about to find out, basically. Kilroy was here. Caradog has to learn how to door before learning the GPU. No, I am the one who doors, or doesn't door, rather. I won't let him have that glory. AM4 was notorious for USB issues, especially the early BIOS versions. Yeah, I think they've largely got all that cleaned up. That seemed to be...
They were also just stuttering issues. They weren't...
Yeah, that was...
power off issues.
Right, this thing, CPU cooler is going mad. There we go. It's actually... The cooler has gone for a wander, so I'm just going to hold it in place.
Yeah, we're up for a lot longer this time, though.
We are.
It's okay, you can sell them that 5800X.
Hit it with a load.
I'd rather not.
What, no faith in the Freezer 7? With my hand holding it on the core?
Well, the other tests apparently based off of previous behavior was if I plug the USB in and it instantly crashes.
This is true, yeah.
No.
Dave Weldon says, have a close look at the old CPU pins. We have already inspected the CPU. That was actually one of the first things we did. However, yes, Sai is cackling with glee. It's never the CPU unless it is, but it's never the CPU unless it is.
Yeah. Still doing the... It's not crashed doing the file copy, and it crashed basically straight away last time. You'll want to be a fraction low on the socket.
I think it'll be all right. Got to go for that offset mount to get the optimal temperature of the
is the base plate actually large enough to cover the CPU?
Oh, probably. As long as we're cooling the IHS, that's what matters. Yeah.
Indeed. Oh yeah, it's not crashed.
Yeah. How about that? Why does he even have a 5600G in it? Why does he buy a 5600G? Why would you do that? The 5600X is like the same price, I think.
Because you're a spoon?
Maybe.
And you bought the 5600G for gaming?
Yeah. I'm sorry, client, if you're watching, but you're a spoon.
Oops.
Can you be a darling and get a hardware monitor up so I can just see whether I actually have to keep holding this heatsink down or not? Try the CPU in a different motherboard for 100% verification. I think that's a good idea.
Oh yeah, we're going to do that in a second.
Yeah, yeah, we shall certainly do that.
Detecting CPU number 1 of 131. Hold on a minute.
Those are some numbers.
Yeah, 60s and 70s.
All right, so if I just let go of this, Right, it's going for a wander, but I think at this point, we have established that we are not crashing. We have gone from could barely get to the desktop to we are not crashing.
I mean, our PPT is low, but
yeah, that's also just because we've got a small cooler on it. No, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to complete a Cinebench run.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Also scored 25,000. Yeah, absolutely. That's normal enough.
All right.
Cool.
It looks like okay. CPUs, I guess then. So yeah, are you? Yes, very well.
Be gone. There you go.
Okay. Oops.
No, the SSD.
Knock a couple of electrons out of it. Corrupt all the files. Ugh. Oops. Not. Can you put that CPU somewhere where I won't mash all the pins on it immediately? I'll tell you what. Actually, I'm just going to pick this whole thing up and just disapparate it off the bench. Ugh.
What?
I'll grab the SSD out of it.
Why?
I guess it doesn't matter. No. Yeah. All right. I was just trying to. I was thinking of just keeping as much.
Can I have the freezer?
Yeah. I was thinking of just keeping as much. Yes.
That has just fallen off the socket.
No, it hasn't.
Just gone. Mashing everything in its path.
Here comes another juggernaut. Okay. Right. I'm going to roll through chat while you set this up. We've been waiting weeks for a Kaboom. We're owed one. How dare you, Steve Higgins? But it's never the CPU unless it is. You all know the rules. There is specifically the extra line to that phrase. Specifically so, I cannot possibly be wrong, because it might be. It's not, but it might be. That's the rule. Anyway, maybe the CPU was sat next to an Asus motherboard for too long and it died. What would you say is best, Win 10 or Win 11? It makes no difference. Use the one that you prefer. I prefer Windows 10. However, use the one that you prefer, basically. If you like the Windows 11 interface, use that. If you prefer the Windows 10 interface, use that. I tell you what, unless you've got Intel, if you have Intel Alder Lake or whatever 13th gen is called.
If you've got 12th or 13th gen Intel or 7000 series AMD.
Yeah, if you have the latest platform, then Windows 11 because optimizations. However, if you have previous generation or older, then use the one you prefer. So. Think it might be random static discharge? No. It's never lupus. Yeah. CPU rule no longer applies these days. I have to admit, I'm inclined to agree, because I have to admit I have seen more failed CPUs in recent history than ever before. That much being said, I would still class CPU as unlikely/uncommon. It would still be the last thing I would suspect, but it is possible. Serious technical questions. The A1A to opaque coolants. You've been taught they're bad, but they're so pretty. Yeah.
I understand that. Well, my understanding is basically any coolant that is coloured in any fashion is ultimately a case of you must clean and flush your loop like every 6 weeks, is the actual recommendation from the coolant manufacturers.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah, that seems to be the gist, is that unfortunately anything that is coloured or has an additive in it, ultimately there is something in there to discolor it or make it not translucent, and that will ultimately end up depositing inside the loop.
Yeah.
There's no way to escape that. So yeah, I do agree they're really pretty. However, if it were me, I'd go clear. And if you want opaque liquid, maybe get opaque tubing. Would be my response to that. Deepcool good heatsinks. They've got really good reviews right now, Deepcool have. And they've got some good prices as well. I've not used a Deepcool cooler myself, but although I don't test many CPU coolers. However, they've got great reviews right now, and they seem to be doing very well. Crooked mounting. Yeah, it's not going to overheat that quick. It'll be all right.
Lol. No, CPU's dead.
Has it just died?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah, there we go then. Sai and anyone who said CPU, they win. It's never the CPU, unless it is.
So, yeah, I can't see it being anything other than the CPU.
No, not at this point. There's no world in which this is overheating like that fast. Like I do this all the time with CPUs and they don't care. I've left CPUs with a cooler perched on top at a crooked angle like that running memtest overnight, and it's been fine. Yeah, there we go. I've seen the new EK Nucleus. Looks cool. What's the Nucleus?
It's their new AIO.
Ah, no, I've not seen it. Oh, yeah, the new AIO. Is that the name of the new AIO? Yeah, I preferred the old one personally. I thought the big block looks cooler than the round one. Honestly, I think the new EK AIO looks like every other AIO. That's actually my opinion of it. Like, obviously, performance notwithstanding, I think it looks like the rest of them. Whereas I think their first one actually had a striking look to it that was very distinctive. It was unmistakably the EK, whereas I think the new one just looks like every other AIO personally. So yeah, the pins on the seat. Yeah, the pins are fine. We've checked the pins 3 times now. Can you just sit in BIOS? Ah, okay. Yeah. So we're sitting in BIOS. Oh, I didn't have capture up for this. We're sitting in BIOS. It has been rebooting, if you hadn't noticed. Caradog's going to dial in a bit more vCore and
just
see
to
what
see if it lasts longer.
Yeah,
basically.
for science, basically.
But we basically conclusively proven that it's.
If it can't run at stock, then it's broken.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. So yes.
What else we got? Yeah, they're all saying normally.
Danielle says I've got a 5700G. Should I worry for my life? No. No. Just because one failure doesn't mean anything. Now and then stuff fails.
But also a case of if you're referring to the Asus motherboard thing, you're on the wrong socket and wrong generation of processor for that to be relevant.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. The only people who need to worry about the current issues are people who have 5800 X3Ds.
No. 7800 X3Ds.
Oh, 7800 X3Ds, yes.
Well, any of the 7000 series CPUs, because we've seen multiple 7000 series CPU die.
Oh,
X3D and non-X3D.
Okay. I thought
it is any of the AM5 socket CPUs.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just the.
No, it's any of them.
I thought it was the 7800 X3D. Yep, fair enough. Yep, that's fine. Disable iGPU in BIOS. That would be an interesting one.
Yeah. I'll do this and then we'll cycle back around because I can't actually remember where the iGPU option is.
Yeah.
However.
All right. So we're feeding it a bit more vCore at the moment. We'll see what it does.
Yeah.
X670 and 7000 series are bad. but the 7800X3D is the most likely to go boom. Seems reasonable.
There was a weird thing with that on, I think it was an Asus board. For some reason, the Asus board was setting vCore at 1.55.
Oof.
On the X3D parts, and the vCore for X3D parts should be limited to a maximum user set of 1.35.
Yeah.
So this is like, the fuck? Wait, have we got 1080p out of this card? Oh, we got a crash.
Yeah. However, yeah, that card can do 1080p.
Yeah, but not with the built-in Windows drivers. With the built-in Windows drivers, it defaults to a 16:10 resolution.
Are you sure?
Well, for me it has on...
Citation needed. However.
CPU settings? No.
How do we disable the built-in graphics? It's
no.
Yeah. Platform power, I/O, NISC.
No. Don't know.
Have you got an integrated peripherals in this BIOS?
No.
I/O ports, yeah, that would probably be it, if anything. But yeah. Got initial display output.
Yeah, no idea.
System agent configuration.
Really?
Are you sure? Does AMD even have a system agent? Graphics configuration.
Right.
Is this stuff you're seeing on the screen, DNA, or are you just spouting words? No offense, but you know.
Right. I don't know. I don't easily see it.
Yeah.
Miscellaneous? No.
Let's see.
Don't know.
Right, Gigabyte 5600G disable onboard graphics. Let's see. Oh, that's within Windows. Thanks for nothing, CG Director. How to disable the onboard graphics? Oh, that's a video. How to disable integrated graphics? Oh, device manager. Thanks, AMD. Thanks for nothing. 2 ways. Other ways to disable it from BIOS. All right. Blah 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 blah. Thanks. Look for a setting with onboard integrated video VGA under integrate. Yeah. So you don't know. Look in BIOS is what you're saying. No, no one knows. They're all useless. Settings advanced, apparently. There is no advanced. AMD overclocking, is it in there somewhere? Like, I kind of expect that iGPU.
Yeah, it's just setting there.
I was going to say, I would expect it to be in one of the AMD menus because it's a CPU feature. And I've found on a lot of modern BIOSes now, anything that is CPU related, you basically just need to find the AMD menus. But unless it just doesn't have a disable, it's possible.
Yeah, not that I'm immediately seeing.
Yeah, although
there's graphics configuration.
There we go. IGP, what? It's already disabled, apparently.
Yeah, I'd half expect that, but okay, it's MBIO. Fine. But yeah, it's dead.
Fine.
It's dead, Jim.
Yep. All right.
It's hacking hacked.
It was the CPU. Psy wins. Anyone else who guessed CPU also wins. So this computer needs a new CPU. All right, that's the end of that, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
I need to go and talk to the customer and tell them that their CPU is dead.
Yeah, and that they should get a refund on that CPU and then buy the proper one.
A 5600X,
yes.
Which is what they should have got in the first place, because it's probably the same price, the 5600G. Very well. I can sell you a 5600X. Well, I might try and sell him a 5800X personally, but we'll see. See if I can sell him on a slightly used one. I'm trying to sell off all of my AM4 stuff.
Well, just all of your stuff.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah. Oh, actually, no. I've sold both my 5800Xs actually.
Both of them.
Yeah, because one of them I down traded to a 3800X, which I will put into a second-hand PC and be able to sell easier because it's lowered the price of that PC. So I'll actually be able to sell it. Because the problem I have is all of the display computers are too high-end and no one wants to spend that much. And the other one I have lined up for a build that I'm doing this week.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so actually the Lianli, I'm going to pull the 5800X out of that, and I'm going to put the 3950X I've got in there, just because it's the only other AM4 CPU I've got lying around.
Did you have 3? So what have you got at home then?
At home, I have a 5800X as well. Yes.
So you had 3 of them?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And now I have one at home. I don't count my home PC towards shop stock.
No, no, no.
So yeah.
But it was purely the fact that I was just like, oh, you had 3 of them.
Yes.
I was unaware of
this.
this.
And then I've got the... Oh yeah, no, I do have a 3700... I've got an... Yeah, 3800X in the core set, and there's a 3700X in the GPU test rig.
Indeed.
Which may as well stay there, I guess. I'm not super in a hurry to sell that one because it's not worth much, and it probably has more value to me as a test CPU. Because the 3700X will make for a really good test CPU because it's anything can drive that. It's mid-life cycle. Very well. Fine. Do we have prices on PCs in the store yet? Not really, because I've sold bits out of all of them, so they all need repricing again.
Do you have a little AMD CPU box?
Not to hand.
Or shall I stick this back in the other board?
We'll stick it back in the old board and just leave the cooler off for now. So yeah.
Fair enough. I will also take back my RAM.
Yes. Good. Well, that's the end of that then. It was the CPU, everyone. It's never the CPU, except when it is. Whoop. You see the 5600G about 40 to 50 quid cheaper than the 5600X. Oh, okay, that's fair enough. I thought they were about the same price, but that was based on zero research, so I stand corrected. That might be why they opted for it. As much as AM4 needs to die, I wish AMD would release new APUs to AM4. What, like Zen 3 APUs or something? Because the 5600G is Zen 2, isn't it? Oh, no. Oh, sorry.
I don't recall.
Yeah. The APUs are always one generation behind the X series. So, yeah. This has been a conversation in English. It's too soon to end. If we were at like 2.5 hours, I'd be like, thanks for coming, everyone. Bye. But, yeah. You won't get rid of us that easily.
But also, I think we've shown that it was the USB cable that was causing problems with the XL1.
Yes, you seem to be correct. Yeah. Yeah, because the XL1 has actually been behaving today, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very well. Right, that is you. Yeah. Why does this 5950X have H written on the bottom of it?
Because it's my one.
Oh, it means high. Yeah. All right.
Because it's
yeah.
The original one, and it was the higher clocking one of the two that we had, and then the other one was.
Oh yeah, because you had one that was higher clocking, and one of them that had the better I/O die. Or something.
Yeah,
didn't
I
you?
think so. Yeah. Yeah, and that one's got the better cores by frequency. Very
well. Good. Mean RDNA 3. Oh, I can't remember now actually. Anyway. Right.
I am very much looking forward to RDNA 3 APUs.
Does anyone? Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I was about to say, but it's an APU, so who really cares? But also, especially given what we're seeing in the handheld space, AMD are capable of building APUs that are actually seriously good and can
Wow.
actually be
The word on the
cheap gaming
wire.
PCs.
The word on the wire is that AMD is going to release a line of APUs in 2024 that are similar in performance to a 4050. You know, in projected performance to a 4050 sort of thing. So sort of 3060.
I was going to say,
3060 Ti.
Can the 4050 get to a 3060? Yeah, that's fair.
You know,
Yeah, that's
sort
fairly
of,
serious. Yeah.
that sort of implied performance level. So I'm just like, if that is true, if that materializes, it's exceedingly worthwhile.
Yeah.
So that's incredibly valid as a gaming PC.
Mike's Unboxing just said APU-based ITX systems will be good if they got 16 gigs of VRAM as well. Yeah, that would be really good because suddenly building tiny little ITX gaming boxes would be viable.
Where did the big screwdriver go?
It's here.
Ah.
All right. Imagine rocking that in your laptop. That is, well, yeah.
Yeah, those are mobile CPUs.
Yeah, that would be fair. Actually.
Strix Point, that's what it was going to be called.
Yeah.
I think.
See, my initial reaction to that was going to be herder. I don't like gaming laptops. But on the other hand, like if you take the iGPU out of the equation, sorry, if you take the discrete GPU out of the equation, then you've drastically simplified the laptop, and suddenly I will probably like it a lot more. So yeah, watch that little hook needs to go on the inside. That's why you're hung up.
On the inside of what? Oh, down like that.
Yeah, that's it.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Chinese cases.
Why does this piece of metal exist?
Chinese cases. They're extremely power efficient. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently, and they're talking about like a total package power of like 35 watts or something like that.
Damn, that's pretty good going.
You know, like if any of this is true, in the way that it is being presented, that we're talking about a 35 watt APU giving you the performance of a 3060.
Yeah, because the other thing to consider as well is like a 35 watt CPU is not mind melting, but also when you consider the fact of a 35 watt CPU that doesn't need the discrete graphics as well. So not only have you got a fairly power efficient CPU, but you don't have the additional power load of the GPU.
Yeah,
that's a huge power saving.
Yeah.
Like handhelds are not famous for their battery runtime, is my understanding. But in a laptop, you can put a massive heckin' 100 watt hour battery in there.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what size batteries the handhelds have in them, like the Steam Deck. Any idea?
No, not specifically.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to that now. Actually, what's the size of the battery in the Steam Deck? Steam Deck battery size. The Steam Deck has a 40 watt hour battery.
Yeah.
So yeah. In a laptop, you're talking about something. You're talking about sort of Steam Deck handheld gaming performance better with double the battery life.
Yeah, basically.
Which is pretty good.
That's all of that stuff that can go away.
Handhelds have to be small enough for passive cooling, so no fans and not be. Well, Asus. What's the name of the new Asus again? The Asus Ally.
I don't know.
Yeah, Asus's new handheld, the ROG Ally, I think it's called. That has a dual fan design, and they've moved the fans and the heat pipes to the top of it, so it's away from the hands. And the Linus Tech Tips video on it, they were like, yeah, the heat is all at the top away from your hands. It's much more comfortable than the Steam Deck is. So yeah, like the Ally legitimately looks like a great product. It's although I have the same beef with it as I do with the Steam Deck, in that I think it seems like a really great product and I want one, but I have no need for one, which is why I won't buy one, because I just don't need it. But I think it's cool, and if someone gave me one for free, I'd be like, hell yeah, Radeon TM RX Vega M GL from 2018. It was about a 1050 Ti.
What?
Maybe.
No.
I find that a bit roughly, because 1050 Ti, You're talking.
Oh, sorry, I misheard you.
Yeah.
I didn't
Vega
hear
M.
what you said, and I thought
Yeah.
you said a 1080 Ti.
Oh no,
I was just like,
1050 Ti.
no.
Yeah. What was the Vega? Where did we find the Vega M then? Was that
in all
discrete?
of the APUs, basically. That effectively take the APU performance of like a 3600 or 3700G or a 5700G or whatever it is.
If my memory serves me, oh yeah, for 3600G and stuff, yeah, it's possible. Like the last time I was, because like I know one time I built a PC that had like a 2400G in it. This was when that was relevant, and the 2400G got demolished by a 960, which is about a 1050 Ti. So, and that was a case of, it was fine. It was, quote unquote esports, but a discrete graphics card still demolished it.
Yeah.
So
even
however,
the cheapest of dedicated graphics will still beat it, kind of category.
So again, but the 3400G, I don't think I ever really tested that against a serious graphics card.
No, but the graphics performance will be within 10%. Because they're functionally exactly the same iGPU.
Yeah, so
it's
Yeah, so again, it's just equivalent of a 1050 Ti, citation needed. So yeah,
that seems high.
Are there new glasses? There are. These are new glasses. I got new glasses today. So yes, they are taller. So now it's a bit weird because my peripheral vision has changed. I'm just like. However, yeah.
I can see.
Yes, they are much clearer than my old ones. My prescription hasn't changed that much, but I was saying to Caradog earlier on, my old glasses the lenses on them are just tired. They're just covered in micro scratches, and I wore these for an hour, and then I was like, right, I'm going to put on my old glasses now that my eyes have adjusted to these ones, and the actual clarity of vision wasn't that much different. But as soon as I put the old ones on, even though they were clean, the vision was just cloudier. And like it felt like they were smudgy kind of thing, even though they were as clean as I could get them.
Yeah.
So just new lenses, basically. So yes. Same beard, though. It is true. In your real-world testing, the Vega 7 in your 5600G is about the same as a 750 Ti. Oof, that's a bit like, although I don't know how good a 750
Not very.
Yeah. I thought it'd be better than that, but I've not done the direct comparisons myself, so I couldn't tell you that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Do I have anti-reflections? Yeah, I've got basic anti-glare on it. I don't have all of the anti-scratch because like it's taken 10 years for my old glasses to get to that point and being boiled in the ultrasonic for too long. So yeah, anti-scratch doesn't bother me too much. Also, just because I'm careful with my stuff. So
it will be boiled.
Yeah. Takes a day to get used to new glasses. Yeah, that's fair. My eyes are going. They're not so much actually. When I started wearing glasses like 25 years ago, maybe more. No, not 25 years. 15 to 20 years ago, I started wearing glasses. Got my first set. The second pair of glasses that I got, my prescription had shifted considerably. And I was actually kind of worried because I thought my vision was just tanking. But then from my second pair to the third pair, which is this pair, my prescription only changed a little bit. So my vision basically went wah, and then stayed there. So fingers crossed, my vision seems to be fairly stable these days. So yeah. When I was young man. So yeah. Or LASIK. Yeah, I'm not that fussed about getting laser eye surgery or getting my vision fixed. I don't mind wearing glasses, to be honest. And I don't mind it. Yeah, like aesthetically, I think I actually prefer my look with glasses than without. I think without glasses, I just have small beady eyes. Make of that what you will. I don't know.
But you're Canadian.
Pardon?
With their beady little eyes and their flappy little mouths.
Oh, okay, South Park reference. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For a minute, I was like, elaborate, please, because I don't know where you're going with this. Um, right, I am going to use the bathroom and put on the coffee machine, and I guess we'll sit
Excellent.
down and talk some tech because
Absolutely.
we're done with that PC. We've solved
Indeed.
it.
What has come up in the news this week that isn't about Asus motherboards?
I don't know. Is that because you're just like, I don't want to talk about the Asus motherboard issue, or
Well, no, because we've already spoken about it.
we have? I guess
We have covered the fact that it's a case of
Yeah, there's nothing to say.
there isn't massively much to say explicitly from our point of view.
Yeah, Asus have done goofed. They're not doing a very good job of the PR on it, and it will get fixed.
Yeah.
will
Oh,
return.
I played whatever the new Zelda game is.
Oh, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yes.
Okay, I'll come back because I don't want spoilers, but yeah, I'll be back.
Yes. I played the new Zelda. I have played the new Zelda. As someone who's never played a Zelda game, it was very much a case of, yes, this is a category of game. I have joined a genre. So yes, that is my initial comment on that. However, I'm going to grab my laptop whilst I'm doing this, so now no one is on set, but you can still hear my voice through the power of wireless microphones. Also, why is there an X79 board just sat on the floor? What? Things, stuff. Anyway. Hello, chat. What was wrong with the PC? It certainly looks very much like it was a dead CPU because we swapped basically everything else. And it was still having the same issue. We swapped the CPU, seemed to fix the issue. Putting that CPU in another board, it then had the same issue. So yes, very much a case of CPU issue. So yes, Dave Weldon, the Asus motherboard issue is AM5 boards, so Ryzen 7000 series boards. There's an issue with overcurrent protections not functioning correctly, and also an issue, it would appear, where voltages have been set incorrectly, causing the CPUs to die, go into dead shorts, and then get loads of current pumped through them, causing them to boil themselves in some instances, and popcorning the PCB out the back. But yeah, the short story is dead CPUs through bad voltage regulation, or bad voltage setting, should I say. And then Asus were the worst offender of this. They were setting the highest voltages and the most squiffy voltages. Also, their PR has been bad, and their immediate short-term emergency fix has basically been a case of, here is a new BIOS. However, if you install this BIOS, we're invalidating your warranty. Goodbye. Which is obviously a really bad response. So, yes. And then there was something. No, fine. But yes, by the power of having two of them, one can get cider while the other talks at the camera. We are not actually getting cider, we are now coffeeing. We have swapped around this week to see if it improves the quality. So, yes.
Are you implying that the quality of the show needs to be improved?
No, I'm simply stating we are seeing if it does happen to, as a side effect, as a mere coincidence, a coinky-dink. Indeed, no cider. We've already had the cider. The cider has been had. The cider has been consumed. The things have occurred. But yes. Has Asus been taken over by ChatGPT?
Caradog made what I thought was a very unfair accusation that I was not fit to host the show by the end of last week's show.
I refuse to comment further. Apparently, Sai is offering to bring us drinks. Also, watch out for the wall there.
I keep swinging my head around the door frame and then I just hit my head on the door frame. Also, I was going to ask, how audible am I actually when I'm over here?
You are approximately halfway in the green.
Oh, okay. So people can make out what I'm saying from across the room, which is the important
Just
thing.
about, yes.
Okay. Hello. Okay, I'm going.
Hello down there! Oh, my God, my eye. Yes. Apparently it's approximately fine. So, good job. Yes. Asus has been taken over by marketing and reduced the quality of its engineers. I don't know. Kind of feels like that. Kinda.
What was the statement?
That Asus have been taken over by marketing and have reduced the quality of their engineering. It's just kind of.
Yeah. So well, this leads into essentially just what Jay did. Have you watched any of the videos surrounding
Nope.
this? Okay. So, are you bathrooming?
Oh, I'm washing my hands so I can wash my eye.
Okay. So Jay's 2 cents did a video giving his 2 cents. Anyway, he did a video basically saying he was dropping Asus as a sponsor over this. Well, sorry, I say over this. That was the implication. But what he was at, the direction his video actually went was he basically said, this is effectively the straw that broke the camel's back, where he feels that he has had essentially nothing but trouble from Asus in recent history. And like some of the examples he stated was firstly, their very poor handling of this situation. Then he also stated that they are a pain to work with regards to sponsorships. Like for big brand channels like Linus Tech Tips, Gamers Nexus, Jay's 2 cents, sponsorships and stuff like that are often agreed months or like the year before. So all of the sponsorships for 2023 should have been agreed upon by the end of 2022. And apparently for Jay's 2 cents, like it's May and they're still negotiating, they're still sorting stuff out. And he's just like, we're nearly halfway through the year, So he's very annoyed with just dealing with them as a brand. And in addition to that, like they also had the recent issue with I think it was one of their Intel boards where there were some of the boards in the batch had memory vCore input capacitors the wrong way around, which would then explode and catch fire.
Oh, yeah.
That was another example he gave. So,
and the other one as well with the Z790 Apex boards. 70 or 75% of them have a memory channel DOA, and Asus are refusing warranty replacements on them.
I've not heard of that.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that in a sec.
Because it's the extreme overclocking board, so nobody buys it and everyone is given it for free.
Oh,
but Asus
okay.
aren't swapping them out, and they're giving them to top overclockers.
I see, yeah.
And they're still broken.
Yeah.
So everyone's kind of gone, guess I'm using the Gigabyte Tachyon then.
Yeah, fair enough then. Yeah. So as a result of this, so Jay has dropped, because initially when I saw the thumbnail from Jay's 2 cents being like, Asus, you're fired, I was just like, Jay, why are you being like this? But after watching through his video, I was like, you know what? I can kind of see why he would be like, you know what? I'm done with Asus. I kind of understand his perspective there. Now, I was also thinking, let's face it, you're going to work with Asus again in the future. Like I said at the start of the stream, this will blow over. This too shall pass. This will be water under the bridge. However, he did kind of allude to at the end of the video that what he meant was, I'm done working with Asus until they get their act together. That was the implication by the end of it. And I'm like, fair enough. So, so based on the original thing of Asus's quality has gone down and such, based on anecdotal evidence and stuff like that, that kind of does seem what it's looking like. But also the thing for me is like, once upon a time, for a long time, I had a grudge against Asus for just having too many DOAs back in 15 years ago, was when I had a beef with Asus just because I had too many DOAs. Like when I first started working in computer shops, Asus boards always gave me trouble. And I had a beef with them. I would never use Asus at all. And then eventually, like starting from a couple of years ago, because the Strix boards were and the ROG boards were really shiny and stuff like that, I was like, oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna. And they had higher built VRMs and stuff like that. I was like, maybe it's time to give Asus a go. So in the past couple of years, I wouldn't say I'm an Asus fanboy, but I have very much enjoyed using the Strix boards at least because the Strix boards were offering a really good-looking, well-featured motherboard at a reasonable price. It was a case of like, if you did a build with a Strix motherboard in it, no one would question you. It'd be a case of, yeah, that's a great board. It'll do fine. Like the X570 Strix, great motherboard. I've had a couple of them.
The F and the E.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I've got one of them up there, and I've got one of them in the Lianli, and they've been great. They've been brilliant motherboards. I think they're incredibly well-rounded, and they cost about between like 180 and 200 pounds, which for an X570 motherboard is great. That's the kind of money you want to be spending on that kind of board. So I'd come around to the conclusion of being like, yeah, I'm all in on Asus. But then also after your experience with what was it, a Crosshair 8 Extreme?
Hero Extreme.
Yeah, Crosshair 8 Hero Extreme, which was supposed to be an extreme overclocking, top-end £700 motherboard, and it was just a damp flannel, to be quite brutally honest.
It is a horrid board to use as an overclocking board that it was ultimately sold as. Using it as a workstation board, it's really good.
Yeah.
Using it as a workstation board is very good.
But you know what else would be really good as a workstation board? A £200 Strix.
No, because the Strix doesn't have U.2.
I guess.
And that has U.2.
But yes, okay, that's reasonable. But I tell you what else could have U.2: a Strix with a 50 quid U.2 adapter in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh no, absolutely. But it's just a case of as a board that has all of the stuff built into the board, it's got 10 gig NIC. It's got it's got a 10 gig NIC. It's got a 2.5 gig NIC.
Yeah.
It's got U.2. It's got 8 SATA.
Yeah.
It's got 44,000 USB ports.
Yeah.
It's kind of a case of all of those things you could individually.
It's got built-in Wi-Fi. The Strix F doesn't have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so all of those bits obviously add up, but it still doesn't make it good value for money.
Yeah.
But it is a case of I can certainly see how you'd be interested in using it.
Yeah.
It's also the other case of just something. I want more CPU PCIe lanes that go to PCIe slots.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm fed up of M.2s on motherboards. We need to drop the number of M.2s significantly.
Agreed. Yeah.
Two is enough. Given that 4 terabyte M.2s are 200 and something pound each now for the cheap ones.
Storage is cheap.
I can get 8 terabytes of NVMe storage through my 2 M.2 slots. Or, if I need more than that, I can put in an expansion card in my PCIe slot because I actually have the slot.
Yeah.
That I can expand into whatever I want.
Also, as some people in the chat are alluding to as well, Mensovan Raj, I'm sorry I'm butchering your name. My B650E Strix was €350, and like JD's like, yeah, £400 Strix. And JD again, Strix branding came expensive after X570. Yeah, basically the latest generation stuff. Just Strix is now like £300 or £400 instead of being the £200 option. And like even the tough, just motherboards in general are just really expensive right now. It's just a bit sucky.
Yeah, and
right now, I think £200 will get you like a Prime or something like that, and it might get
on X670.
Yeah, and like it might get you a tough, but also like the tough board is a bit of a damp flannel this generation.
Guess how much the cheapest X670 board is in the UK?
Cheapest X670 in the UK,
according to PC Part Picker.
300.
Oh, okay, no, 252.
Okay, yeah.
It's
yeah.
an Asus Prime X670p.
Yeah, but again, yeah, £252 for a Prime. Come on,
Yeah.
that should be 150 tops for a Prime.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not well. I mean, okay, things cost more than they used to, but the Prime used to be £150.
Things cost more than they're useful for no overall
Yeah,
valid reason.
and like it's a
in
big
my
hike as well.
opinion.
Like when X570 came out, it was expensive. It was like £50 more expensive than the previous gen. Like X470, you could buy an X470 motherboard for £100. And then X570 came along, and suddenly it was like 150 for the crappy one, or like 180 to 200 for one that was actually half decent. Now that was but bearable. Whereas now the price hike from X570 to X670 is like at least £100, basically, isn't it? I would say.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's also ridiculous when you look at Intel and go, oh, a Z690. Sure, this is an ASRock, but the ASRock Z690 PG Lightning D4, so a DDR4 board, which you wouldn't want to buy for on Z690, but fine, is £182.
Yeah.
70 quid cheaper.
Yeah, and if you're doing a see, like
if you
last
want a
year,
DDR5 board,
last year that would have been brilliant.
DDR5 board, £200.
That's still quite reasonable, actually.
It's 50 quid less.
Yeah. Yeah, the AM5 tax is real.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, I don't know whose fault that is. I don't, but
from the little I know from listening to leaks and stuff, it's not AMD. Because apparently AMD is selling the X670 chipset at only 1 or 2% more than they were selling the X570 chipset for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a case of a lot of it is the PCIe. A lot of it is the PCIe, and a lot of it is the number of M.2s and stuff like that.
Yeah. Mike's Unboxing says the NZXT N5 Z690 is still £110.
Yeah.
There's a lot of NZXT stuff that is weirdly cheap right now. Like their motherboards.
Nobody wants to buy it.
I know. We'll come back to that in a sec because I kind of want to explore like how bad could it be because they're really cheap.
It's not that bad because it's not made by them.
Yeah, because aren't they ASRock?
I think they're literally an ASRock board with a bit of plastic over the top.
Because like the NZXT stuff, they're really cheap, and also for their motherboards, and also like their power supplies are going very cheap at the moment. Like, I don't know about the UK, but last night I was researching power supplies on Amazon.com, so US. Because one of my American friends, their power supply went bang. So I was very quickly researching one so I could be like, here, buy this. And you know how power supplies cost the earth at the moment?
Yeah.
NZXT had like 750 watt, 850 watt gold rated power supplies for like $100 kind of thing. Huh. Whereas the nearest equivalent Corsair is like $160, $170 or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's really cheap. You know. So I'm like, how bad are they, really? Yeah. Because, like, I'm sure there's something better, but is it fit for purpose? Because it's bloody cheap.
I like this.
Oh, that built-in Wi-Fi solution is...
a little how you doing.
Yeah,
but
there's nothing wrong with it. It's modular. You could swap that out with a different Wi-Fi card if you wanted. So actually, I'd almost say I prefer that.
In theory, in a couple of years' time, you can stick a Wi-Fi 6E adapter in it.
Yeah, you could put in a card that will support 5 gigahertz. I'm sure it's got good Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, but I'm being unfair here at the time when I'm trying to justify this. No one wants ASRock either. ASRock have been doing okay.
Yeah.
In recent times, ASRock have actually been doing really okay.
Apparently it's got QVL DDR4 at 5133.
Good luck with that.
Friggin' excuse me.
Yeah. 2 volts to the DDR4. She'll be right.
What?
I
have to see this QVL.
Yeah. The N5 Z690 is a PG4 ASRock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Connectivity
what?
is a bit meh. Oh yeah,
Hold on.
What's the I/O on it look like?
Hold on. There's the N5. It's £99.
Yeah. See?
What?
See, that's the thing. I don't like. What's the I/O on the back look like? I mean, like it's going to have.
It looks basic,
okay.
but it's got 4, 5, 6, 7. It's got 7 Type A, 1 Type C.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. 7.1 USB ports. That's not bad. It's £100.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's available in white or black.
Yeah.
Well, white.
This is the thing. It's just like, you know, I get it. You know, NZXT are a bit overhyped and they're not the best out there. But for £100, who cares?
Also, the H7 Flow is 120 quid.
H7 Flow for 120. Yeah. I don't know whether NZXT have dropped their prices or people are fire sailing them. But
this is NZXT's own website.
Well, yeah, then it must be them dropping their prices. You know, it was like when I bought the NZXT H1 at Christmas. I had been kicking myself for not buying 10 of those. I'd have made bank on them. But I didn't have the balls to buy a load of them. I just bought the one. I was like, oh, that's cheap. I'll get one of those. And like in retrospect, I'm like, I should have bought like 10. I should have bought their entire stock. I should have maxed my credit card buying those things and just been knocking out cheap gaming PCs that looked great with them.
That's a... Oh, okay.
It's fit for purpose. Exactly.
Okay.
PC component makers are playing musical chairs with the prices. Yeah. RAM, GPU, and SSDs are cheap at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
What are you bulking? Oh, you're looking at QVLs.
I'm looking at the QVL for this board, and I mean, you'd only have 16 gigs of RAM, but that's not awful. And you've got QVL at 5066. A couple of Hynix G-Skill kits. 8 gig modules, I think. Are they 8 gig modules?
Are your customers buying PCs because they look fast? People want shiny things. This is a fact.
Oh yeah, 2x8.
So, ultimately, I want to sell a product that looks and feels premium. And NZXT, you can say what you like about them, but they look and feel premium. You know.
Those timings.
As in, are they really good or are they hilariously bad?
DDR4 5066, CL20 30 30 50.
What?
Hynix.
Yeah, that's
However, it's on the friggin' QVL for the board. Like, that's mad. But
Sure.
obviously you also need, a top 5% processor to actually run it at that speed for the IMC. But hey.
But again, though, it's kind of it is confidence because it's like, well, if they've got QVLs for those speeds, that generally implies that you can lob basically any 3600 kit in there, and you're not going to have problems. You know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't expect to have problems with 4000 kits on Intel.
Yeah. Those that know, but those who don't go for shiny. There's nothing wrong with shiny, Like, don't get me wrong, it needs to be good as well, but like, I don't sell computers just because they're shiny. I sell computers that are good. However, having them be shiny is an added bonus. There's nothing wrong with wanting something that is shiny. Like, this is the thing, like, don't get me wrong, I know that RGB isn't for everyone, but I really dislike this implication that just because you want something that looks nice means that your priorities are in the wrong place. I think it is completely fair to say no. I actually kind of want it to be in a nice case. I don't think that's a hot take. Reminds me of the old PC listings that they say super fast 8-core gaming PC. and it's an old AMD FX chip. You say old PC ad listings. They're still doing it, Craigie boy.
They're still current.
Yeah, they're still doing it.
They'll also list this. They'll also list the CPU as something like an 18 gigahertz CPU.
Yeah, just add up all the gigahertz from each core. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that flies on Facebook, but that's probably still a thing on eBay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Super clocked ultra speed. God.
Mm.
What would you rather have? A Core M3 at 1 gigahertz, or an FX at like 5.5?
I mean, I'm
pretty certain it's the M3.
Like, I think we're on a bit of an extreme angle here. However, I would probably say the M3 because I can run that without a fan on it.
Exactly.
But yeah, M3 will be worse, agreed. Like, don't get me, I rag on the FX a lot. However, it does function, you know.
In the strictest sense of function. I understand it can do floating point math 1/2 the time.
Oh no. Oh, oof. Oof.
Oof.
Do you stock up on things like crazy cheap SSDs we've currently got, or do you just buy something? I generally buy as I need, and just let the prices do as they may, because you never know whether they're going to keep going up or whether they're going to keep coming down. I do actually need to buy SSDs, and I do need to buy SSDs, and when I do, I'll probably buy. Well, at the moment, I think I'm dropping 500 gig SSDs from my lineup now. Because with 1 terabyte SSDs clocking in at like £40, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to bother fitting 500s anymore. You know, at the very least, I think the next order I place is going to be for like at least 10 or 15 1 terabyte SSDs. I might just say, sod it, we're getting 20 just in case the prices go up. Because while they are low at the moment, I don't think it's unreasonable to say I can't see 1 terabyte SSDs going much lower in the next 6 months. I think we are at a low point. 15% price drop, I think. 1 terabyte will be 30 quid in 6 months. See, that makes me think, oh, maybe I'll just get another 10. You know.
NZXT H5 Flow, 80 quid from Amazon.
H5 Flow for 80 quid. Yeah. I mean, there are other premium cases that are in that ballpark. You know, like
that's actually a good price for it.
Corsair 4000D is like 90 quid, and that's Corsair. You know, the Corsair could charge 100 quid for the 4000D, and that would be what I would expect, and they're charging 90 for it at the moment.
H7 Flow is 120.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that NZXT aren't trying to charge. Like at one point, I could see the H7 Flow with no RGB costing 140, and them turning around and being like, "It's a big flagship case, so it's 140 pounds."
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "No, you're trying to fight. 140 pounds. You're into Lianli Lancool territory here, and you are not Lianli. You know."
The H9 Flow, £300.
Yeah, that although
the H9 Flow is the O11D kind of NZXT knockoff.
Even still, 300 quid, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, how much is an O11D these days?
I don't know.
It's not 300, I don't think. It's like £200 maybe. Like, the H9 Flow, it is the new hotness. That looks cool. Yeah. What's that branding? Is it
My Hero Academia?
Okay, yeah.
NZXT H510i Rivals.
See, that's one thing I do like about NZXTs. They do special editions, and we don't see that very often. Like way back in the day, I was at EGX, and I saw like a H700 Fallout edition or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
didn't a mutual friend of ours get the Fallout Edition one at some point? I think he did. I can't remember. But again, it was
maybe. Oh wow!
But yeah, it was cool.
The black 4000D is 85 quid.
Yeah,
I didn't realise. I thought it was still over 120.
Nope.
Because that's the prices I had seen
it
last.
The 4000D is well priced. The only problem with it is that
sorry, the 4000D Airflow.
Yeah, 4000D Airflow. However, to all intent and purpose, these cases that we're talking about fundamentally don't come with fans, because you'll get like 2 cheap airflow fans in there that you're going to immediately want to replace. So, although that much being said, that looks like an RGB edition you're looking at there.
Yeah, it doesn't have a price, but apparently there's a version of the case you can get that comes with 4 QL RGB fans. And I was like, huh, interesting.
If that's £120, that would be well priced, in my opinion.
With 4 QL fans in it. Aren't
Yeah.
the 4 QL fans 120 quid on their own?
Yes, that's why I would say it would be a good price.
Therefore, the case would be 240.
But no, that's not how it works with Corsair, though. You know, like don't forget the Corsair 220T came with 3 RGB fans and a controller and was £80.
True.
Which is why I love the 220T so much.
The RGB Airflow is 150 quid.
150. Oh. Yeah, I mean, at least it comes with QLs, I guess.
I don't know if these are QLs. These are just the Airflow.
Yeah.
This is the Airflow, not the Airflow QL edition.
Yeah.
So
150.
Something.
Yeah, 150 is getting into flagship territory. So yeah, 4000D is 3 years old, but still looks good. Yeah, I don't think
Is it really 3 years old?
I could believe it.
Crikey.
Needs a refresh. I don't know what you do with it though. I think it looks good still. Yeah. Any comment on the MSI crypto key link?
What?
Crypto key leak. Oh, is this the one where... was that MSI? Right. This was the one where the... what was it? The secure boot key got leaked?
The secure boot private key.
Secure boot, yeah. I don't know enough about this topic to be able to comment on it. I think while Floorlamp and Muerto were talking about it in the Discord at some point, but I was busy at the time, so I couldn't watch the conversation. I saw they were
talking. I was just like, yes, okay.
These are vastly more knowledgeable people than myself. I'm going to nod sagely. But yes. How about some audiophile SSDs? No, absolutely not. I've been using Kingspec 250 gig in none of your important machines. Been working well over the last year. Price cost less than 20 Canadian dollars a pop. Yeah. Every time I guess if it's non-important, you know, if it's non-important, then by all means, just don't expect the world from it. You know.
Who?
Dave Weldon.
Who had the leak? No, who was it? Who leaked?
MSI.
MSI.
Apparently.
That was it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find the conversation in the chat.
Do you guys recommend any brands of M.2 SSDs or any to stay away from? Personally, I would avoid the Chinese brands like Kingspec and stuff like that.
Love Dove or whatever it was called.
Yeah, or you know, we'll just the Chinese brands.
Basically the brands that sound like the name was generated by mashing words together.
Yeah, basically.
As opposed to the brands that were made by mashing letters together and calling it arse rock or
no offense, China, but most of your native brands make tat. I'm sorry, that's just this is a fact. Basically stick to Western or Taiwanese, basically. So yeah.
The cheapest SSD you can buy right now is apparently £11.30, and there's a Patriot Burst Elite 120 gig.
I mean, you can stick that in a netbook.
Yeah. Or you can buy a 256 gig Lenovo SSD for £13.
Lenovo, I see.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the new ROG Ally? Briefly talked about it already. It looks great. Basically, I have the same opinion of it as I do the Steam Deck in general. It looks great. I want one, but I don't need one, and therefore will not be purchasing one. But I think it's cool.
Why, when I search for ROG Ally price, is the first result The Mirror, then GameSpot, then GSM Arena, then lots of adverts, then rock, paper, shotgun, and not the Asus website.
I've noticed this issue with Google recently, and like I haven't been
I
testing.
think it's a brand issue more than a Google issue explicitly.
Yeah, well, several websites seem to have this issue where just whenever I'm searching for stuff, I just find that my Google foo needs to be an awful lot stronger than it used to need to be, and I'm increasingly finding search results are not helpful. But yeah.
Oh,
Samsung has a history of issues with their SSD, so they're on the avoid list. Citation needed.
there was issues with the 980, 980 Evo, 980 Pro firmware that, as far as I understand, got patched reasonably quickly. But it was a case of the drives were just turbo killing themselves. But I also understand that Samsung Advanced Warranty replaced all of the people's drives who contacted them.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware. So
I've not
at least
encountered
on that
it.
point.
Yeah, I'd not encountered an issue or had encountered anyone else who had. But that much being said, though, you know, that's sample size of me.
Yeah.
So
£700
if that was a thing, sure, fair enough. I hadn't heard of that.
£700 for the ROG Ryzen Z1 Extreme
thingy.
which is kind of...
Yeah, I think I seem to remember. I think I saw this when I watched the LTT video on it. It was like $599 or something like that. So it was very competitively priced in the US. However, in the UK, they just slapped another £100 onto the price tag, where it should. You know, I think it's not unreasonable to expect price parity. But yeah, it's suspiciously expensive in the UK. And by price parity, I mean dollars to pounds.
Yeah. The Z1 Extreme something Q3 Ryzen edition something. The naming in this article makes no sodding sense. Is apparently $700, €800, or £700.
Oh, okay.
And then there's a standard version that's apparently $600, €700, £600.
Oh, okay.
There's apparently two versions.
Fair enough. Perhaps maybe I got that from a YouTube comment, so perhaps that YouTube commenter had not actually spotted the prices correctly. So yeah, at the very least, though, in the scheme of handhelds, it is priced versus the higher spec Steam Decks. So like the cheapest Steam Deck is significantly cheaper, but also has eMMC memory in it. So that's a case of that's not the one you actually want. So when you price it against the Steam Decks that you'd actually want to buy, it actually becomes fairly price competitive. And the TLDR is that it is faster, it has a better screen, and it has better ergonomics, and you're running full-blown Windows instead of SteamOS. However, SteamOS Valve have done an astonishingly good job of low power optimization. So in low power mode, they get better battery life.
They've also got a really good,
and they have very good user experience for like the controls and settings and stuff like that. That Asus have just not nailed in the Ally.
They've also got a really good 30 Hz and 40 Hz screen refresh mode. Like a really good.
Yeah.
So yeah. I didn't realise that they're powered by a new APU, which was launched alongside it, the Ryzen Z1 and Z1 Extreme. That's why the model versions were slightly weirdly named in the article, just because the way it was phrased, I think. But yeah, I like this, though. It's based on 4nm Zen 4 with RDNA 3 GPUs.
Yeah.
It is 6 cores, 12 thread, with 4 RDNA 3 cores, with 22 megabytes of onboard cache. I'm just like, nice.
Yeah. DeFildo says, wait, Asus Ally is Windows? Yes, the Ally is running Windows, not SteamOS. We don't know what the story is with it running SteamOS yet. It's currently unclear as to what Valve are actually doing with regards to SteamOS, because, you know, like the Ally is not running it, and it seems very obvious that Asus would have spoken to Valve about running it. It seems extremely unlikely that Valve are going to keep Steam OS to themselves, because it's in their interest for more people to run Valve stuff. But then on the other hand, even if you're running Windows, you're still going to buy your games on Steam anyway. Like, what are you know?
Yeah, but
what are you going to do? Use the Epic Game Store? You know.
Yeah.
So it might be that Steam are like, well, you know, we put a lot of time into developing Steam OS for the deck, so we're going to hold on to that. Or it might be.
I doubt it's that way around.
I think the more likely thing is that Valve put an enormous amount of R&D into getting SteamOS on the deck just right, and Asus have not yet, or are not willing to put in the same level of effort to get it to go just that good on the Ally as well.
Because it is also a case of you can literally just do that. You can go to store.steampad.com/SteamOS and install it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's something we're going to see very soon. We're probably going to see a bunch of videos of people running SteamOS on the Ally then in that case, and what that experience is like.
Yeah.
I've seen users running SteamOS on desktops.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if
I
you've
want
got
to
support...
I want to install it on something.
I would be interested in doing
have
that.
a ganders.
Yeah, should we do that on the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, should we just
You
stick
can
it on?
do it on literally anything.
Yeah, should we stick it on the GPU test rig or something and just look at it? Because I've not I've seen a Steam Deck, I've held it and been like neat kind of thing, but I've not used it as such. And like obviously I wouldn't. It's not something I would recommend as such. But then you know, because obviously if you run SteamOS, you're now limiting yourself to stuff that is supported on SteamOS, which is going to be less than what is supported on Windows. But on the flip side, I'm kind of interested in looking at it just to see what it's like. To see, I don't know. I guess I want to try it out. You know, what's that like?
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't realise that for the Ryzen Z1, the extreme version on the graphics side, it's got 12 RDNA 3 compute units, whereas the standard only has 4. So I thought it was going to be going from like 4 to 6.
I see.
No, it's 4 to 12.
Yikes.
That is a substantial increase.
Yeah, big time.
So yeah, you very much, I get the feeling, want to buy the Z1 Extreme.
DeFildo says, being fair, SteamOS is Debian based and DEC is Arch. They're not the same, but effectively from a consumer standpoint, they are.
Yeah.
Both are Linux, both will need Proton, yeah. I mean, if they're,
And the Proton bit is ultimately handled by the SteamOS installation layer, isn't it? Because as far as I understood, the Proton layer was effectively built into the Steam app.
The Ally being Windows opens up lots more possibilities for casual people that want to tinker. Yeah, it's also worth noting that the pricing of the Ally also demolishes basically all of the niche handhelds, like the Aya Neo and the Aya other handhelds and stuff. But those are all low volume stuff, so they can't really compete on the price. It does show though that the handheld market is really heating up. And I think we're probably... Which is
unfortunate.
Oh, I see, yeah. We want it to be cool to the touch. Yeah, fair enough, yeah. Yeah. Again, I'm kind of sad because it's a really interesting looking market. These handhelds are really cool. I just don't need one.
Yeah. The Aya Neo Air.
Yeah.
With the 5560U, 16 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage is $630.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's not bad. I thought they were more expensive than that.
Yeah, so that's pretty good.
Oh, very well. Okay, yep. I think like their flagships get up into the awfully close to the 4-figure sums. But it's not fair to pick their most expensive product as a basis of comparison.
I didn't read the product name properly, and read it as the Aya Neo X Charge GAN charger, and I was like, what? Oh no, gallium nitride. It's like, what is a GAN charger? No, it's gallium nitride. Never mind. Oh God, they sell an SSD called the Cyber Thunder.
The Cyber Thunder.
which
On the subject of just brands where they just mash words together.
What? But yeah.
Adjective, noun.
Yeah. They sell a power bank as well. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Makes sense, because it's all about the portability of the device. So, you know, sell
Oh, it's that one. Yeah.
Oh, has it got lots of stats for nerds on the side of it?
Kinda, yeah.
Neat.
I think I know what it's based off of. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, that product's on my... Charged for longer battles. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It means you can battle for longer because you have a longer battery life.
Yeah. A-class power cells. Very good. 2C, 1A, 1DC, perfect port combination. What's a 2C? What's a 2C?
Type C. It's got 2 Type C ports.
Oh.
And 1 Type A port.
I see. Yes.
Mr. Judgy. Judging there.
Well, no, my point was kind of just, what is 2C? Because their ports say they've only got 1 Type C on there and 1 Type A.
Okay, fair. All right, understandable.
That's why I was like, what is 2C?
Yeah.
Unless they mean 2C.
Very easy to run emulators on the deck. Yeah. That would be a good use case. I don't need a portable device. That's the reason why I don't need one of these. Is I don't need a portable gaming device.
Yeah. If I needed a portable device, it's a laptop because I need something with a keyboard.
Yeah, pretty much the same. And a laptop is going to do most of my emulation if I need it. Like the last time I don't go on holiday very often, but the last time I went on holiday, which was a year ago, I took for gaming and leisure. I took my Dell Latitude with me, which had my emulators on it, and I played Mega Drive and Game Boy games on it, and I used HDMI to plug it into the TV that was at the place we were staying at, and bought my Xbox controller, and I sat on the sofa and played retro games via my laptop. You know, and if I needed to, I could have done that with the laptop just on my lap or on a desk and stuff like that. So, I mean, if I were going on plane journeys and train journeys and stuff like that, so I was going to be sitting on a train or on a plane for hours at a time, absolutely a handheld would be god tier. But that's not what I need. So yeah. Yeah. RetroArch is not an emulator. RetroArch is a container of sorts. RetroArch is a system where you can plug in cores, which are the actual emulators. But RetroArch generally implies an environment where you have a bunch of emulator cores as plugins. So, yeah, technically RetroArch is not an emulator, but it is a system.
Just like wine is not emulation.
Yeah. However, it's kind of like saying, you know, a power bank is not a battery, but it contains batteries. You don't have a power bank without the batteries in it. So,
look at that.
Cyber Thunder.
Okay, this, that.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Do you see a similarity?
Okay, go back to the other thing.
I'm not saying they're identical. I'm just saying, do you see a similarity? Do you think
yes,
that A and Neo are dual sourcing with these people?
It is not. It is not the same product, allegedly. Right. Yes. Yeah. That's the same product. Yeah.
other than the connectors are definitely different here because
they got XT60 on that.
I think it's XT90.
I see. What's XT90? Is that just bigger?
Bigger.
Oh.
Bigger, more power.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But
well,
like,
well, I mean,
all the nerd
yeah.
stats.
At the end of the day, though, it's just like, why would you R&D your entire own power bank instead of just jumping on Alibaba? You know, it's just you wouldn't. You'd buy an existing product. So yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. That's not like
Oh,
something they need
these
to
are
do.
goals. Sorry, I thought these were products you could buy, and I thought they were selling a C2C 5-amp data cable for $200,000.
Audiophile.
And it was just like, excuse me?
High five for pedantry. Yeah, you are technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. Very well.
Just show me your ports. Show me your. Never mind.
You're desperate to know whether they're telling porcupines. Porcupines.
Yes.
Did that work? Was that funny?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Don't just call it a DC input. I know it's a DC input. I'm not charging it with AC.
Fine. Yeah, handhelds, kind of neat. Fine. Right. I thought of doing anything else with the crazy cooler. We need to plug it in and make sure it still bloody works.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need to get round to that at some point. I'm not sure what our next plans for that are, actually.
No, not really.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why we haven't done anything with it yet, is we did a test run as a proof of concept, but we haven't actually formulated a plan for what we're actually going to do with it. We've kind of just got it going and been like, yes, good, this chills again. I think it's potentially waiting for a platform that is worth doing extreme overclocking on, because the problem we've got at the moment is that current platforms, or at the very least Ryzen 5000 series, it's just not a lot you can do with it without a golden sample CPU, is there?
Yeah.
Matthew Bryant says, didn't need one, but still got a Steam Deck. Yeah. Even the basic one is pretty good bang for buck, especially if you've got your own SSDs anyway. Yeah. Z97 and 4790K. That's not a bad idea, actually, JD, is we go back and we do some classic overclocking with the freezer. I'm not against that idea.
Why won't you show me the ports?
But the shiny screens.
Show me the holes on the other end. Oh my god.
Okay, Caradog's not going to be hold until he finds out how many charge ports this thing has. Fine. Right. We need another topic, or we're going to be wrapping up a little bit early today, I think.
I feel like everyone's been explicitly told they're not allowed to show the other end of the device off. Because the video was like, look at the device. Here's one end of it. Here's this side of it. Here's this side of it. And oh, here's that side again. And let me put it down this way to the camera. And I'm just going to pick this up this way to the camera. And I'm like, okay, but what's on the other end of the device? Why wouldn't you show me all four sides? Sort of thing.
Weird.
I don't know. Anyway, whatever.
Hollow Knight on the Steam Deck is cool. Got you playing the game. I need to replay Hollow Knight. I was talking about this to someone else the other day. I never did get the true ending on stream. Do I mod consoles? I do not. I've started doing a little bit of console repair. I'm sort of dabbling in that. I do HDMI ports now. And I've got an Xbox Series X, I think, coming in that I think is going to need a new DVD drive. But modding, no, not my thing. Who makes the Amazon branded UPS? Oh, no idea.
Give me 2 seconds and I can tell you.
What am I Twitch streaming these days? Well, Thursdays I just did on Thursday I did a one-shot stream of a game called The Company Man, which was a fun game, but it was short, 4.5 hours long. We did it in one go. I'll be streaming tomorrow, and I'll be back with more Jedi Survivor. It will be the second stream of that, and hopefully the patch has fixed it. We're going to find out. So yeah, that will be back. Then next Thursday, I'm going to be streaming probably Freedom Planet. I also want to do Cult of the Lamb at some point because I've bought Cult of the Lamb and the hype for that has died down. So now I'm going to stream it. So yeah.
There you go. The OEM of the Amazon Basic UPS is Lianjiang Electronic Co. Limited, a Chinese OEM of industrial electronic products.
Very well.
The name probably means nothing to most readers, but Lianjiang is actually one of the biggest and most reputable UPS OEMs on the planet. Many products sold under premium brand names are actually manufactured by them.
Oh, interesting.
So it sounds like in a way it might be, you know, the Seasonic rebadged as Corsair in the early days situation. But apparently the UPS is not a very good UPS. Apparently it's exceedingly noisy in the sense of the fan is very loud. The fan runs all the time. And it can't charge and supply power or something. And like takes like 18 hours to charge or something from like the review from years ago. Or something. And it's like it will also only supply power at full load for less than 60 seconds.
Oh yeah, that's no bueno then, yeah.
It's just
because
like
for me, I'm just like, okay, well, you know, if you're buying an Amazon Basic UPS, what's your threat profile, so to speak? It's like, well, you're probably an enthusiast who lives in America, which has a third world country power system.
Oh yeah.
And you want to be able to flash your BIOS without bricking your motherboard.
Yeah.
60 seconds is not long enough. If you're in the middle of a BIOS flash and the power goes out...
That is at full power.
Oh, that's a full power. Okay.
Yeah, that's 900 watt draw.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, 60 seconds, you're going to have to crash out of that game pretty damn fast. And like, if you're playing an esports game and you want to be able to finish the match when your power has just died, you know, like if you're a competitive gamer, you need your backup power to run for 10 minutes so you can get through the match.
Yeah.
So a power failure doesn't mean that you forfeit a competitive game.
Yeah.
You know, again, trying to think of reasons why an enthusiast would need a power supply. Like if you're like if you're an office worker, your power is probably not that mission critical. Or failing that, 60 seconds. If you're not under full load, that's going to be 5 minutes, which is long enough to save your work and shut down your computer.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting. Oh, and that is good news, I guess.
Second world power grid, thank you, says Adam Williams.
Yeah.
Very well. Me who lives in a country that actually has bad electricity. I mean, it's good when it works, but it's off awfully often. Do you use a UPS, JD? Because like, this is the thing, like in the UK, I'm not saying that we never ever have power cuts, but they're infrequent enough that no one really is concerned about needing backup of any kind, you know, like and if we do get a power cut, it's usually because something has fallen over at a substation, and it's usually back within 5 or 10 minutes tops. You know, I think the last time I saw a power cut where we were without power for more than 10 or 15 minutes was definitely several years ago when I was at the old shop. Like there was one point where the power was out for like a couple of hours, and that was a matter of I just stopped working for the afternoon because I was like, I can't do anything. You know, like the power had been off for long enough that my laptop battery was getting low, and I was like, I'm sort of down to my mobile phone just to chat with people, and I'm like, well, can't run anything now, and all the laptop batteries, all of the laptops that are in for servicing, their batteries have run down. So at that point I had to stop working. But like that was a long time back, and I can't think of any other instances before then. So it's just not an issue over here.
Yeah, we had an interesting issue at home a couple of months ago where, well, actually it was probably ages ago now, actually thinking about it, but where the power would cut out, come back on,
Yeah.
be fine, cut out, come back on. And basically what was happening is like the local substation or something was basically like ground fault detecting because a tree was shorting one of the power lines.
Ah, I see. Yeah.
But it was just like, huh. And yeah, it was just very funny.
Yeah. Yes. Apparently rural can be a different story.
Yeah.
I lived in Lingfield, UK, and we do get power cuts for hours. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Shaftesbury is what I would define as semi-rural. Like,
Yeah.
we're not exactly in the middle of a city or anything like that. But then on the flip side, and like, you know, there are rural country lanes 10 minutes down the road, but at the same time, we're not mega rural. So, you know, I can understand that there were certainly more rural places than here.
Mm.
But yeah. Had a couple of instances in the last 12 months where power's gone off for about an hour. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe I'm basing my evidence on overblown stuff, as DeFildo says, and also just my personal experience, which is sample size of 1, you know.
Mm.
Did electricity went up in the UK? Electricity costs the earth. That is all. And yeah, I use LED lighting for everything because LED Master Race.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You guys seen the Pixel Fold? Doesn't look too great, especially for the price. I saw that there was a Pixel Fold, but I didn't look any further than that because I don't care. But again, I'm guessing it's what, $1,800 or something like that.
Yeah, £1,750.
Yeah, I have zero.
I'm interested in it in the sense of it
as a product.
As a product, yeah, because it looks pretty. I like the actual design of it is.
Yeah, doesn't look very flat.
But like
fancy.
The things that they're doing with it are kind of, oh yeah, that's not too terrible. You know, like it's got a decently sized
Normal
folded screen size. It's got a decent size unfolded screen. You know, they're specifically touting the durability of the hinge kind of thing, which I'm like, that's good that they're specifically happy with that. The fact that it is a thin foldable that actually folds completely flat. The fact that it is powered by a Tensor 2. Just stuff like that. I'm just like, it sounds good. The fact that obviously they're saying, here's the multitasking stuff. And I'm like, good.
Yeah.
You know, just a case of as the...
Yeah. I still just... I still can't get over the price of foldables. Like, I think it's insane to spend £1,000 on a phone. I think £1,000 on a phone is insanity. So when someone's coming at me with a phone that costs $1,700 and up, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I could buy a, you know, I can buy a Google Pixel phone, you know, mid-range Google Pixel, like, you know, Pixel 6 my Pixel 6 was £400. I can buy that and like 2 different iPads and still have money to spare and not have all of my eggs in one basket. Like, imagine owning one of those and dropping it, you know.
Oh yeah.
And I know it's unfair to judge a product on, oh, but what if you break it? It's just like, okay, well, you could, by that argument, you should never own anything nice. But I can't wrap my head around the prices of these things. I will never endorse a product that costs that much for something that is handheld and you lob about, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
The bezels are big. I'm not.
Oh, that's not terrible.
I'm not super bothered about large bezels because I don't like edgeless phones. Because what's the term when your fingers are nudging on the edge of the screen and causing false input and stuff like that? I can't remember, but I want to be able to. I want to be able to grabby hands my phone. You know, so you know, slightly large bezels on a phone don't really bother me too much. Am I on fibre now? No.
Next question.
And I've also forgotten what address I need to tell BT when I call them.
For fuck's sake.
So I need to be told what address to give them, and I need to write it down because I keep forgetting.
That's not bad. I quite like the Pixel 7a. That looks all right.
Oh, I'd heard the Pixel 7a looks cool.
Yeah, 450 quid.
Oh yeah, 450. Yeah.
It's also a decent price.
Yeah. Is it well featured? Because the 6a was a bit of a damp flannel, was my understanding.
Was it? Oh, I mean, from what I saw of it, it looked like a solid phone.
Oh, okay. I heard that the Pixel A was just fine, but like the Pixel 6 was you could buy a refurbished Pixel 6 for like the same price, and it's a better phone.
Ah, it's only 5G sub 6. Interesting. Okay, that's a shame.
What is 5G sub 6?
Non-millimeter wave.
Yeah.
Which is
So
a shame.
So it's a brand new phone that doesn't support the latest generation tech.
Yeah, but it's also a case of
It's 450 quid.
I don't think we're going to see millimeter wave in any meaningful capacity until we get onto like 5G plus or something.
Yeah.
Because
also millimeter wave, that's the one where you need to actually be able to see the mast for it to work, right?
Functionally, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a case of I can't see us actually pushing that until it's effectively 5G plus or 5.5G or whatever it gets marketed at.
And it's certainly not something that we're going to see outside of a city anytime soon. So if you're not city centre, it doesn't really matter, because also arguably city is kind of the only place that actually needs it.
Yeah, it's specifically designed for cities, tube stations, etc.
Yeah,
it's designed for very high device density areas.
Yeah, high device density, and also where traditional masts struggle to reach because of building shadow and stuff like that.
Yeah, and also,
in the middle of a city, it is it's hard to imagine not having reception in the middle of a city. However, in the middle of a city, that's actually a really bad environment for wireless communications.
Yeah, because also device density.
Yeah, yeah, but again, it's kind of like with GPS as well, which I know is a completely different thing, but like, I remember one time I was having to drive around in the middle of Manchester city centre, and just driving in the middle of Manchester city centre, I couldn't get GPS reception for sat-nav anywhere. And I was like, this is a nightmare. I don't know where to go, and my sat-nav cannot get a signal in the middle of a city where I need it the most.
Yeah.
How is this possible?
That is the one good thing about obviously using a mobile phone for that.
Yeah.
Is it can get a loose fix.
Yeah.
For location based off of the mobile network.
Yeah.
And then it can more accurately fix off of a GPS, and even with a very weak, poor single 3 satellite GPS
triangulation,
it can stick you way more accurately, because it can stick you on the right part of the planet to start with.
Yeah.
And just kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also just we have way more satellites now doing it.
Yeah. On Amazon UK, the Pixel 7 is £50 more than the 7A, so you may as well just get the 7.
Is it still 500 quid?
If it's still 500 quid,
wow.
I think that's a good deal. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Have you seen the Google tablet that they released? The Google tablet looks cool because it's oh, that was the one where the UK price sucked, because I watched the MKBHD video on the Pixel tablet.
Oh wow. Oh, okay.
And the Pixel tablet in the US was really well priced. The UK price apparently sucked, but in the US it's well priced, and it comes with a speaker dock that it clips to and becomes a Nest. And I'm like, that's cool. So it's a Nest where you can just take it off and use it as a tablet. So yeah.
A new Google tablet.
Yeah. And it's, as a tablet, it's fine. However, when you take into account that it comes with the speaker dock and everything, it's actually a pretty cool product. And so yeah. You bought the Nothing phone? How are you getting on with the Nothing phone, Si? Because I was this close to buying a Nothing phone. I really liked the Nothing phone. However, the Pixel just made more sense because it would have a better camera. And I don't use my camera very often, but when I do use my camera, I want it to be a good camera.
I'll be honest and say the pricing on the Pixel tablet doesn't look awful. 600 quid.
I think that's fine, because I think it was $600. So yeah, we've got price dollar parity. And I think, again, the YouTube comments lied to me.
Yeah,
in a surprise to no one, YouTube comments were wrong.
Yeah, 600 quid for the 128 gig one, 700 for the 256 gig one.
Okay, yeah.
So that's all of the product photos show it coming with the fabric stand thing.
Yeah. Okay. So $600
no way it can't come with it.
What's the start price for? Hang on a sec. What's the start price for an iPad that you'd actually want to buy? iPad.
I would expect it to be less than that.
Introducing. I want to buy it. Just how much does it cost, Apple? Oh, don't give me one of these. Okay, right. iPad Pro, iPad, £500 start price.
Yeah.
And now, is that for a 32GB model? 64 gigs. I was half right. But 64 gigs is...
Which iPad is that? Is that just iPad?
Basic iPad, yep.
Yeah.
So the cheapest iPad money can buy, it's 64 gigs and it's £500. I despise Apple for doing this. It's like, if you made that 120 gigs, I'd be sold on that. But 64 gigs is just like, that's getting low by modern standards. Like, that's workable.
Yeah,
but if you just made that 128 gigs, I would not be questioning it. So it's £100 more for the Google tablet, but that comes with the fancy speaker dock, which I think is cool.
Yeah,
I think that's genuinely useful.
The iPad Mini is more expensive than the iPad by £170.
Yeah, the iPad Mini and the iPad Air, they don't make sense. I don't understand it. I understand why the iPad Pro costs as much as it does, but I don't understand why anyone buys a mid-range iPad.
Oh wow, the iPad Pro's come down in price a bit, hasn't it?
What's the start price on that?
£900.
Yeah, I don't understand the iPad Pro.
Oh yeah, it's the 11-inch model.
Yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't buy a Surface. But then on the other hand, if I was really savvy and I knew all of Apple's esoteric gestures for iOS, I probably wouldn't mind. But all of the modern gestures for iOS make no sense to me, and I don't understand them, and I hate them. So yeah, I'll gladly pay £100 more not to be stuck with Apple nonsense. They're fine, you know. But again, I really like the look of the Pixel tablet, though. I tell you what, I think what's really cool about that Pixel tablet is that it comes with the speaker dock, and when you put it on the speaker dock, it basically becomes a Nest. But when you pick it up, I think one of my provisos is that if I pick up the Pixel tablet, I want to still be able to wirelessly play music to the speaker dock. You can spec up an iPad Pro to $3,500 or 3,300. Who would buy that? What is your use case where you must have one device that can do quote unquote everything?
And you end up choosing an iPad.
Yeah. Like surely at that point you'd say, I'll have an iPad and a MacBook Pro for £1,000 less and change. And now I have two devices.
No, for the same price.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Just because you'd want to buy the terabyte MacBook, which will be £2,000 starting, won't it?
Yeah.
This is a 2 terabyte tablet.
What are you doing that requires 2 terabytes of storage on your tablet?
Why is Apple pushing you in that direction, kind of thing? MacBook. I don't know why you buy the MacBook Pro right now. MacBook Air M2. Buy. Do they not? Wait, what? They don't do a larger than 512? What?
Yeah.
They have to. Oh, okay, they do. Thank God for that. I was like, what? You sell a MacBook that only has 512 SSD and that's it?
Yeah.
And by default, it comes with a 35-watt charger.
It's the same problem that the iMac has. I've seen 2 of the iMac, the new iMacs now, and seeing them in person, I'm like, this is a really nice computer. However, it costs £1,300 starting price and has 250 gigs of storage in it.
Oh.
I build Office PCs for £300 with 1 terabyte SSDs in them, and you're telling me you can't put a terabyte in the £1,300 luxury desktop, you know?
Oh, that.
I don't like it. This is my beef with Apple. It's just, they're capable of greatness, but they don't do it and get away with it. You know? And like, I can't even imagine that, like, you would say sort of, okay, well, why aren't they putting lots of storage in the iMac then? Because it would cost more money? Well, I suppose it's because they can sell you that storage for a premium.
Yeah,
you know?
1,400 quid with 256 gigs of storage.
Yeah, exactly.
And 8 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's it. And like, when you see the computer, you're like, this is beautiful, this is lovely. But then when you look at the price tag of it, you know.
Okay, that's not bad though. I like the screen on it, as always is the comment.
And this is the thing, like, I've had this...
Oh God, it's only got 2 USB ports.
Of course it has, it's a Mac. But, you know, I've had...
It's a...
And, you know, but this is...
But aren't those 2 USB ports going to be taken up by my keyboard and mouse?
No, they're Bluetooth.
Oh, okay, thank God for that.
You know.
I thought they were going to ship me a basic keyboard and mouse that was USB.
No, but I tell you what angers me the most. I'm coming back, everyone. What angers me the most is you say, okay, screw Apple, I'm going to buy another all-in-one. This is your alternative. This is this is a modern HP all-in-one. And it's just like, you know, it's...
What?
It's a slide-up camera.
Oh, okay.
Slide-up camera, you know. And, you know, you're like, okay, you know, it's not quite as sleek as an iMac. Sure, okay, fine. However, this has a Pentium Gold in it. This has 4 gigs of RAM. This has a mechanical hard drive. This is a modern AIO. This is like a year old, maybe 2 tops, being generous. And if you want to buy a modern equivalent of this, it's like £400 or £500 minimum. You remember when I was looking at...
That's not terrible. If that makes
I can buy a £300 Dell laptop with double the specs of this for £350.
Yeah, I was just expecting you to turn around and go, it's like £800.
Yeah, I think it's more like 500, I think, but yeah. Sai says 700. No, not 700. Now, I'm not saying that you can't buy high-end AIOs by other brands, but what bothers me is that you could easily build something like this, because it's just a laptop with a big screen on the front. You could build one of these with like a mid-range i5 in it, 8 gigs of RAM, that would be completely fine for other people. And I find it hard to believe that it cannot be done I find it hard to believe that you can't do that for 500 quid and have a superior product. But also, like, no one's putting like a decent screen on them. They've all got TAT tier screens, and they've got garbage speakers in them. So, like, we're complaining about the iMac, but no one is building a better product, and they have the capability to.
To counter your point, a little bit,
all right.
Lenovo Idea Center all-in-one has an i3 1220p, 4 gigs of RAM.
Why has it got 4 gigs of RAM in 2023?
A 256 gig SSD, and it's £380.
£380. That's apart from the RAM, like apart from the RAM, that's not bad.
Right?
I'll give them that.
You go to an Entity Suite.
An Entity Suite, I see.
And you get a Celeron N4020.
Why does the Celeron still exist?
4 gigs of RAM and a 64 gigabyte SSD for £380.
And it's going to have Windows 11 on it, and it's going to run like garbage, and it's going to have no storage.
Well, in the picture, it's got Windows 10.
Lol. Okay, fine. So it's a brand new computer with what is technically an obsolete operating system on it. See, this is the point I want to make, is we can sit here and we can bash Apple and we can say, oh, look at Apple with their iMac and their stupid pricing and the fact that they're fleecing their customers. But the problem is that if you say, fine, let's go to Curry's, this is what's being sold to people. And I know that there's better products out there, and we could say, oh, you know, there's probably some good all-in-ones out there, but this is what other people are seeing as the alternative.
Right.
And they're going to buy this and have a terrible experience and suddenly be like, well, the Apple's much better. Because this is the basis of comparison.
Okay. HP 24CB0020NA, Intel Pentium Silver, a J5040, 4 gigs of RAM, and a 256 gig SSD for £470.
And again,
Or you pay another £30 and you go up to a Core i3, 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage.
yeah, and how much was that one again? Sorry, for 500. Yeah.
So 470, you go to 500, and now you've got an i3 over a Pentium Silver.
Yeah.
You've got 8 gigs of RAM instead of 4.
So basically, if we go up to minimum viable, it's 500.
Yeah.
And like an equivalent laptop would be like £350. I mean, sure, it's got a bigger screen on it, and it comes with a
What?
comes with a separate keyboard and mouse.
What
I guess.
is this pricing?
It's just.
Or you can spend £530
Yeah.
and get a Pentium Gold 8505 with 4 gigs of RAM.
Yeah. And like,
What?
and the thing is, if you say, okay, forget AIO, like let's go desktop. If you look at just desktop computers, it's not really any better. And like, I can't remember if we did.
It's arguably worse.
Yeah, I can't remember if we talked
wow.
about. Did we talk about this on the podcast recently?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because we had this. We had this discovery in the Discord where I was like, what the hell? How is it possible that I can build a better computer for cheaper? Me building a better computer is not impressive, but the fact that I can build a better computer for less money is just heartbreaking.
That's not bad. Lenovo Idea Center 3i, 280 quid. i3 12100F, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gig SSD.
i3 for £280. That's just for the.
That's not bad.
That's
pretty
fine.
good though.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's no monitor or anything like that. So
yeah, but you just said desktop PCs.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So yeah, yeah, that is a yeah. I as long as that comes with like a keyboard and mouse and stuff, that's not bad actually. That's fine.
Oh. And then the next one up is 400 quid for the same specs.
Oh yeah, there you go. And now we're in ridiculous land because I can build something the same as that, except it'll have a terabyte of storage.
And this has got an 1115 G4 in it. Yay! It's a laptop processor.
Yeah.
It will
Microsoft should absolutely kill low spec machines because all of those impact negatively on Windows. This is exactly my point.
This was the point of a Windows 11 spec bump.
Exactly. When everyone complained about Windows 11's minimum spec and I defended Microsoft over this, this is why. Because this is what people are buying. They buy these cheap crap computers and they go, oh, Windows is ever so slow. It's terrible. Bloody Bill Gates. And it's like, Windows isn't the problem here. And it's just,
Or if you wanted to go AMD, MSI mini box thing, 460 quid for Ryzen 3 5300G, 8 gigs of RAM. It's just...
yeah, for how much?
460 quid.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not good value. That's
No.
not good value.
No.
It's just like all of these prices.
Yeah. I tell you what I really want to see is as well is I want to see some nice, cheap, low-profile cases, because that's one of the other things. One of the nice things about buying like one of these Lenovo PCs is that they're mini PCs. It's surprisingly difficult to build a good mini PC at a good price because you fall into the SFF tax. Because at the moment, the kind of office PCs I'm building are micro ATX. And there's a lot of wasted space in there. It's a big empty box. So yeah.
Good Lord, these prices.
Yeah. Marcel has enjoyed this conversation in English. Therefore, we have to go.
This has been a tirade.
It has.
Indeed. Very well.
We end unfulfilled. But hey, at least we diagnosed that PC, so that's one thing.
Absolutely.
I've enjoyed this conversation in English, indeed. It's always been like this, though. When we were upgrading 386s to play Wolfenstein 3D, most high street places were still pushing 286s. I mean, yeah, I guess, like, them pushing low-spec computers, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. I just feel like that. I don't know. I just feel like there's not a lot of choice out there, and they don't have many options. I don't know what I expect. I just expect better. Although maybe it's just the fact of I just assumed that. Maybe I just assumed that they could do better when they can't.
As a complete derailment and a complete change of topic.
Okay.
Pixel 6 Pro, 350 quid off of Amazon UK right now.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You need a new phone? That's a solid answer. It's too big. Your phone is too large.
Your hands are too small.
My hands are normal, thank you very much. I have average hands.
I mean,
Too big.
You're the one who describes them as dainty.
Maybe. Okay, maybe. Well, okay. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Goodbye. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for hanging around. Thank you for putting up with my nonsense.
Thank you for being here.
See you soon.
We will see you next week.
New video will be out in a timely fashion. I'm going to fix the sound card. It will be great.
If you want more of Graham, you can see him on Twitch.
That's true. I'll be on Twitch tomorrow. I'd say do the command, but the command's probably broken. So I'm going to type it into the chat. Twitch.tv/Nethisam. I'll be streaming more Jedi Survivor. Watch me swing around a lightsaber at low FPS.
Apparently, the patch has provided 70% performance uplift in certain CPU limited areas, which now means that you'll hit a heady height of 40 FPS.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I was going to spend some time like fine-tuning it to get the best I could out of it. However, I've decided I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to jump straight into the game and see just, like, without touching anything, has the patch fixed it? Or rather, just made it not awful kind of thing. So yeah, I'll be doing that. English conversation has been in. Bye!